leader. The music from afar, gets high. Ends up losing his life and sees Triple G just basically bullshit.
Supplier! How'd you like them apples?
What is up, survivors? Welcome to the Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia League. This is going to be week 4, day number 2. We're past the halfway point as me, Husky, alongside the Mustachio AG to bring you guys the action for this evening.
It's going to be a hot one, right? We saw the teams come back from a 2-week break and they were absolutely explosive yesterday, Husky. The meta has been tweaked a tad bit. The pace of the game has slowed down, but the intensity has just burnt up the battlefield yesterday, and I think it's going to continue in here today as well.
Yeah, super excited to see it because during the 2-week break, 5 out of the 6 teams within our league actually travel all the way to Sao Paulo, Brazil for a tournament, right? And you know, Reverse Ray came back the winners as well. So a lot of international experience. I think these guys, they've not only caught a break, but also had time to keep that engine warm.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, right? Of course, it has been shown that they are a tad bit tired from their travels. The Indonesian teams have been making a lot of noise yesterday. Indostars as well as EVOS Divine, thankfully, will not be disrupting the play for the 12 teams that are going to be in rotation today. As Group A takes its rest, Groups B and C hop on in here for some battles.
And that means that we get to see BRU take on center stage again, as if the lead that they've garnered in the first 3 weeks is not enough, right? They haven't shown up for week number 4, and they are 1 point away from breaking into the 700 point mark. They're definitely going to achieve that today. It also gives them a chance to pull ahead in terms of total points on the leaderboard when you're looking at teams that are trying to catch up to them. Falcons, Reverse Red, even Stalwart to a certain extent.
I mean, yeah, quite a bit of distance there. And although Falcons did manage to kind of bridge the distance by 60 points yesterday, it wasn't enough to catch up. They now have an additional 6 matches that they have played against Buriram. So obviously the 40-point difference is going to continue to increase as Buriram picks up the pace as they always do. We started off yesterday where everybody was on the equal number of matches with them 110 points ahead of the competition. That's like one whole day's worth of superb plays in terms of advantage.
Yeah, and with what you pointed, the slight meta changes, I think for me, very excited for the Indonesian teams. Now you do have time to prep against the more aggressive squads that like to run in your face with the goal portal. Indonesian teams, they love to play a bit more slow, steady, and calculated. This feels like it's going to be their domain, but we'll need to give them a bit more time to really warm up to what is currently the meta playstyle.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, man. And, you know, we haven't really seen Buriram in action on the new meta just yet. So perhaps the 2 weeks of rest has been enough for the Thai teams to catch up with that sort of a pacing as well. Yes, they were the ones who kind of took the most out of the increased pace that the game brought us, right? We had that Suya, we had the Portal Goals, and the Portal Goals were perfect for a quick entry, quick pops all around the battlefield with all of those charge busters and the Bison that used to be super strong. Still strong, a tad bit nerfed, still strong, but you know exactly how it was, right? Now with the slower pace, of course, we think things are going to be a tad bit different.
Still sticking around, Spice playing on the outside there, want to win this round. Reverse Red Expand Stars getting the first booyah for the round.
Esports can sacrifice one, but one hand down here at the bottom. LBD finds A-back. EVOS has just one more, and Esports, well, it's well-deserved booyah. Stalwart, 14 points in hand, on the hunt, finds nobody, circles around, finds a couple of Divine players, but Cypher appearing out of nowhere, and Stalwart hits the big booyah.
And I think they actually caught one, Don't Cry, on the ground, now down to 3, Mirror caught as well, now they're being stormed, this is Expand's time to shine, they have done it, Expand, secure the booyah for game number 5, look how happy they look.
And there's just a taste of what yesterday has brought upon the realm of Free Fire after a bit of the shift. Not just in terms of meta, but also certain teams have made roster shuffles. So we're going to go into that in just a little bit, but we have to look at the timeline first for this tournament. We're done with the first half of the league, and now it's into the final leg, starting with yesterday, 26th of April to 28th. It's going to be this week, and afterwards we'll cap off with 2 more weekends of league stage plays, and afterward we take a 1-week break, and we'll come back for the point rush, and then eventually the grand finals.
You guys saw through that highlight reel earlier. EVOS, Divine, Expand, Indostars, all 3 teams from Group A who are taking a break today. They took full advantage of the absence of the leaders of the overall leaderboard, Buriram United Esports, to bag away the most number of points, right? You saw EVOS Divine walk away with 122 massive points for themselves with 1 booyah. Expand and Indostars got a booyah for themselves as well, 92 and 88 points. Solid stuff for them, but as they take rest today, obviously, we will see a little bit more of shifts on the overall leaderboard. Not too much down at the bottom though, because Heavy yesterday had a solid chance when Onyx Olympus wasn't even playing and they still could not catch up. They just needed about 50.
Yeah, I think you could say the same thing for teams like Attack All Around, who will be taking center stage today, right? They got 6 rounds to try and cover as much ground as possible to get themselves as close to Indostars and EVOS Divine. Because this is the only Thai team that is not joining the main 4 in that top 4, and it has been sort of a running gag, but I think it's time for Attack All Around to step up. But also we have to follow the cardinal rules of competitive Free Fire. That is the point system. Every single booyah gives you 12 points, all the way down to 0 if you finish in 11th and 12th, and every elimination gives you 1.
And of course, everybody is looking for those eliminations early game this time around because of how easy those revives are within the first 2 circles. Everybody also wants to upgrade their glue makers very early on. They want to get extra Free Fire coins. You're going to see a lot of hot action. That has been a standard thus far set by teams like Buriram United Esports, who are leading the fray with 429 eliminations thus far from 36 games played.
Just unparalleled performance. They are at least almost 3 full booyahs ahead in terms of points just through eliminations. But again, there's chances for them to pull ahead even more today. But of course, if we ever get to a situation for a tiebreaker, which calls for it, we'll look at first the number of booyahs both teams have. And if that is the same, we'll look at the total eliminations that they both have. If for some reason that is also the same amount, we will just have to look at the survival ranks the teams got in their final round. And hopefully we don't come down to that.
Yeah, the possibility of looking for a tiebreaker at the top of the leaderboard looks almost impossible with the amount of distance that we have between the Titans up at the top, right? But when you look down towards the bottom, for the teams who are struggling to get into the top 12, for the teams who are, desperately hanging on from being relegated from the top 12, there is a possibility we may just need the tiebreaker by the time we're done with the knockout stages.
Which would be crazy. I think the tiebreaker would be a lot more impactful if we're looking at who qualifies for into the top 12, right? Because I think by now a lot of people might have known, if you've been on Wikipedia, if you've been following the news, top 8 by the end of this entire league, by the end of the grand finals, you book a ticket straight to the Esports World Cup. So a lot of things are at stake. But today's team list, again, Group B against Group C, we get to see Buriram, we get to see Attack All Around, Todak back in the fray, and Onyx Olympus gets a chance to extend that lead against Heavy, who will also be trying to catch up as much as they can.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And of course, if you look towards the bottom of the table, teams like Heavy Esports, they really need to pick up the pace. They need to make sure by hook or by crook, they do better than Onyx Olympus as well as WAG, because today might just be the day that kind of sets your tone for the rest of the competition. We've got a new meta. If you want to, use that element of surprise, perhaps the 2 weeks of preparation that you've been working on in the background could do you really good today.
And speaking about Heavy, they did have a slight shift in the roster. I think, so B-Boy is now no longer with them. They brought in a new player, Hui. I think from Lion Group, also from Vietnam. We'll have to just check in how that is going to be implemented later on. But today, aside from Heavy, we got P Esports, RQ Kazu, Homebois, Stalwart Esports, and Reverse Rit from Group B.
And of course, Homebois yesterday picking up a total of 16 points, have been looking a little bleak in terms of their opportunities out there on the battlefield. We are looking for this Malaysian squad to step up, but could that be asking for too much, Husky? I mean, they've completed 42 games thus far with a total of 218 points down there at the bottom.
I think, by a shred of a miracle, there's still chance for top 12, but you know, you can't make any more mistakes from this point onwards, especially you're going up against teams like Onyx Olympus, right? Attack all around, BRU, Todak, Dewa United, and even WAG. These teams, they are not here to mess around. I know that Dewa United, you know, they're also in the bottom 6, but chances for them is definitely better than Homebois Conspiracy, so just have to see. Team stats though, gotta look at WAG, currently in the 11th place with 368 points. They're gonna cash in their first 6 games this week, but in terms of overall stats, they are very dangerously at the bottom.
They are very dangerously at the bottom. Also, a very dangerously surprising team. You know, one of the only teams down there at the bottom with a massive number of booyahs to their name, right? 6 booyahs in total. The closest one to them usually sit down at the very top of our overall leaderboard, and this man is part and parcel as to a good reason why WAG has been so threatening out there on the battlefield, especially when in all of those close quarters combat, right? Tatsuya used to be his power play. Now with the slight nerf in terms of the cooldown, perhaps things could change.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have to force these teams to start rethinking how are they going to take these fights. You can't just run into there and expect the same results as before. Onyx Olympus, on the other hand, a team that just likes to be a bit more opportunistic. They like to play slightly slower. This could be their chance to shine. Even in terms of overall stats, they're almost the same as WAG, aside from eliminations, which places them slightly higher.
Yeah.
But I gotta talk about Gardu though. This guy, his headshot stats by average is in 5th out of like what, 48 players. Wait, actually no, more than 48 players, like what, 60 plus players.
Exactly right. You've got your subs in there as well. So headshot stats super stacked, and of course those eliminations are going to be pretty easy. But even that said, he's sitting down all the way down in 19th, right? That shows you the kind of quality that we have in the competition. We've got monsters out there capable of eliminating, annihilating. Hence why both of these two teams, although their numbers are pretty stacked, they're sitting down close towards the bottom of our overall 12 teams.
Yeah, I mean, if we include the subs of every single team, we probably have more than 80 plus players. So to be in the top 5 is nothing short of impressive. Even when you look at this comparison of stats, assists, they are the same, but headshots and eliminations, Gardu takes the cake. We're gonna take a look at the battle, the stats breakdown though. I think this chart gives us a very good idea of where these two teams stand. Sure, WAG, they got a lot more average assists based on how they play, but Onyx Olympus just crushes them in every other aspect.
And we have seen that in a few different circumstances as well when we've had them go head-to-head out there on the battlefield. But on the overall leaderboard, surprisingly, Onyx Olympus still dragging their tails behind WAG. Only 16 points though, so just one good solid game could make the difference for both of these teams. But that's, you know, really going to be dependent on whether or not we see the Booyah version of WAG or the super inconsistent one, right? Because this is the team that hits that Booyah, big numbers, and then the rest of the 5 games, you're probably not going to expect more than 10.
And of course, the top 3 used characters so far have not really changed much. Still see Tatsuya at the top, followed by A124, and then the Homer. I think even with the nerfs to Tatsuya, teams who generally like to play fast would still take him, but use his ability a more conservative, in a more conservative way. You know, just gotta be a bit more careful with the cooldowns.
Yeah, I totally agree, right? And of course, you've got Andrew Awaken here as well. Not only does he give you that extra beef in terms of your armor, it also gives you an armor stack when the rest of your team members bring him in. Hence why the super stack on his number 2,470, outdoing almost all of the other passive characters. But I believe another passive character is going to be making it up to the top 3 very, very soon. That's Joseph, who has had the change from the Nutty Movement to the Silver Spoon now, which disables him from getting marked, disables him from any slowdown in terms of speed, which has been the meta thus far.
Yeah, and because information gathering is so important, right? Look at Arvon, 1,450 times used, Dinoculus, so strong. You have UAVs, it's just to find where your enemies are. Of course, Beaston and Dreki are also very crucial in terms of team fight, especially Dreki that gets to mark you behind glue walls if you're injured or you attempt to patch yourself up. So we'll see if Joseph's gonna have that surge in terms of pick rate. I believe that will be the case. Today's schedule, starting with Bermuda, then we go to Purgatory, and Alpine, and Kalahari, and then Nexterra, play all 5 maps. Then for the last game, we would spin the roulette to see where we land.
Absolutely. And, I'm most curious about whether or not Joseph is going to be spammed amongst all of the teams, because if the recent meta has been all about marking your opponents out there on the battlefield, especially with your Awakened Moko and so on to get the extra coins, now Joseph's going to be a little bit of a game changer. But of course, we also have to see who's just generally dangerous on these maps.
Yeah, we have Reverse Red, we got Expand, we got WAG. I think 2 out of the 3 teams are not on this map today, if I remember correctly. But I want to quickly talk about WAG first. Early on, we said that, okay, they in the bottom quadrant of the leaderboard, they do have the most booyah out of everyone else.
Yeah.
But statisticians, they're going to look at that and be like, actually, WAG, they're not really that good in a lot of aspects. They're average at best. But one thing that they have been consistent is surviving until the very end. The fact that you have more booyahs, 5 more booyahs compared to Onyx Olympus, and you are still lower in terms of eliminations and only ahead by 16 points, means that WAG in the long run is going to struggle against fast tempo teams. Perhaps this meta is going to benefit them in a little bit, but I still feel like WAG, you got to be able to buckle up that gunfire game.
And I think that's exactly what they're going to be able to do, right? Because just like the Indonesian teams, I don't really see WAG as a super fast-paced team. And like you said, the change in meta should assist them the most in terms of just slowing down the pace a tad bit, allowing them to get a little bit more control in all of their engagements out there, because they already clearly know how to find that final circle. Those engagements have been their weak point. In the top 12, they have the least number of eliminations, standing at 176, albeit not too far away from Onyx Olympus. But clearly, there is going to be a little bit of a force in terms of what you actually bring out there in terms of your team lineup, because now there's so many viable active and passive skills. You got to think whether or not you just want to stick to the active skill card that you can purchase within the vending machine, or you want to bring an A124 for yourself as well and have 2 of those A124 skills to be used back to back, disabling all of the active skills of your opponents. So many things to think about, and Joseph might not even have a spot in all of that.
Yeah, that actually is a pretty good point. Attack all around, if I remember correctly, for this second half of the league, they actually got limit from JV onto their side. So I feel like this is a very interesting development. Not just in Thailand, I think a lot of teams have gone through this change. Expand, we saw that yesterday, right? Cobra is no longer with them. I think Zuez also left the squad. They brought in 5 MKS previously with Farang, and then went to Homebois Conspiracy. Now with the side of Expand, so many interesting changes. Even Team Falcons picking up CGGG. I think that one is probably the biggest news in competitive Free Fire in a long time.
I can agree with you, and I expected that news to impact the players a tad bit differently than what we saw yesterday. I expected the Falcons to just come bursting out of the gates, annihilating everyone, catching up with Buriram. They only needed 110 points, Husky, and the usual Falcons would have been able to do it. But the Falcons that we saw yesterday, I have my questions.
Yeah, I feel like they are still, living through the Sao Paulo experience, where they also had a pretty rough one, right? That tournament was just reverse rate completely dominating everyone. So I don't know. I think Falcons probably need a bit more time, especially adjusting to this meta. Right now, I'm looking at teams like BRU to see if they can continue to continue to extend that lead. This game 1 will give us a good idea on how some of these fast tempo teams would approach the new meta.
It is going to be battles between Group B and C down here at Bermuda. The map that's conquered by Reverse Red, WAG, as well as Stalwart Esports. Will the 3 of these teams make it down here to the final circle? Or is it going to be a totally new story here as Group C joins the fray? The flight path going to be cutting right down the middle of the map, opening up the whole of Bermuda to these teams, Husky.
I want to look at Todak also. They brought in 2 new players, Sensei and Wings. I wonder if they will be fielded for today, or in any matches, in fact, especially when I believe both of those players are for Indonesia. Sensei was previously from Bigatron Delta, which is one of the biggest brands from that region. Drop spots wise, nothing has changed. BRU still takes peak. Everyone gives them their respect that they have earned over time. Todak and Heavy might be in for a hot drop.
So the common factor that I see here is a lot of exchanges between the Malaysian and the Indonesian teams. I wonder if the players that are missing from the Malaysian circuit now might be playing in a couple of Indonesian teams just so that they can get a little bit of experience overseas. Because the circuit, as well as the meta that they play there sometimes, can be very, very different, especially with the pacing in comparison to the Malaysian squads.
Especially, I think, in well, our biggest struggles is kind of that mid to late game, right? Not that good in gunfights.
That's
Can't
true.
really out-rotate everyone else. It takes a lot of effort to kind of break through that plateau. We just see RQ Kazu already losing their first member. And even for this squad, they also have added in Mao, right? Wings left the team, and that's the guy we said that went over to the side of Todak. So I think this shift is interesting for RQ Kazu overall. Just have to see that long-term impact, because this is a team that also struggles with inconsistencies.
Onyx Olympus getting the floor wiped to their faces. Buriram United meeting them halfway through, grinding down the players one after the other. Homebois, on the other hand, managed to get away from a little bit of heat, so nobody's going to be disturbing them at Rimnam Village at this point of time. The player that dropped at the very edge of their border there has managed to back away from the engagements and hunts. Easy tags the Bison, even though with the nerf, shouldn't be much of a problem. Has the mini Uzi in hands as well. Do not waste those bullets. Heavy with the 4th elimination.
Very out of position. I think Todak was not even... We talk about the hot drop, right? And Heavy, they're winning in every aspect. And unfortunately,
Oh my.
this 1v2 is not even close, considering the fact that Todak has the numbers advantage. And Heavy just gifted 6 points. All of them courtesy of Todak. And Todak, they are just reviving members for Heavy to pick up more.
Well, we talked about how Heavy desperately needed the points after yesterday's, a little somber run, I can say. This is a fantastic start for them. Now they're stacked in loot as well. All they need to make sure is they've got the proper items purchased from that vending machine. Those portal goals, although a tad bit nerfed, are still very useful in the final circle.
Yeah. And a bit of quality of life update for the graphics. I love that now you get to, especially for the audience, right, you get to see the roles, the individual roles of these players, and kind of associate what they would do for the team. Because we're looking at Diamond, the rusher for Reverse Red, who has had a phenomenal performance in 2 weeks ago. Let's see if he still kind of retains, that bravado. Because I think one thing that really made Reverse Red stand out in Brazil was kind of their willingness to take fights. Their willingness not just to take fights, but the confidence that they displayed when taking these fights. It really felt like, you already lost the moment Reverse Red starts running at you.
Yeah, I truly agree, man. I mean, the UI updates, we now get to see a little bit of extra information down here at the bottom of the screen as well. Pocket market, mainly in display. I wish they could also show us the active skill cards. That would be a little bit of a game changer, because you can now bring in not just your own active skill, but buy the exact same active skill card from the vending machine, so you can release 2 homers back to back now, Husky.
Yeah, very, very, I think very impactful, especially when you need that intel, right? RQ Kazu calling in reinforcements and them against Heavy, but obviously for RQ, they are slightly outnumbered. Is Legoloff, this angle, not really the best to support his team if Heavy decides to not stay on the roof. You can see Kabi already going for a bit of a push, and Legoloff, he does know that there's one on top of that building, but he could not get a clear shot.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy gunfight here for Heavy. They already had one earlier. Vitan drops Razor. Duts does manage to trade out Kabi, though. Jonah gets Duts on the ground. RRQ, 2 players left here. Maal as well as Legoloth doesn't really get away from all of that heavy firepower as Jonah shuts down Maal. No other options, and they choose to retreat from this battle. Good decision by Legoloth. He's got enough money to still make a difference for the squad.
Very unfortunate. Legoloth had the right idea, but just was not given the angle to support his team the way he wanted. Attack all around, on the other hand, they're going to be facing off against Reverse Red on a streak recently. And I think Poongon might just be kind of given away to Reverse Red, considering that the rest of Attack all around, they actually have a chance to go for a pincer, finding Exposy in the back, and Poongon just finding the good timing to swing for attack all around. Reverse Red, they didn't even fully commit to this.
Not yet, and Homebois have an opportunity here to sneak one away at the expense of RRQ. Legoloth has dropped into a spot not so convenient for any bit of trickery for those revives, especially. Homebois not giving him that space. Legoloth, vehicle in hand, on fire already, out in the open. Perhaps this is the end for RRQ.
This is where you go for the chase. Homeboys need a miracle of a run, and it has to start with getting a couple of points, taking advantage of stragglers. Legalov will be claimed, very straightforward, but RRQ still in the game as Legalov have done just enough to keep his teammates alive.
Homeboys with the UAV. Heavy's position will be given away. They're still camping at their own vending machine, hoping and praying that Homeboys don't come knocking on the door. Perhaps it could be the exact opposite. They're hoping for them to come knocking. Vitan. And that backstab is going to turn against Team Heavy as they lose the player early.
Let's see if Ali can get a second one. This could be huge. You don't want an equalizer if you're on the Homeboy Syndicate, a conspiracy side, excuse me. Homeboy Syndicate. It's a different team for Homeboy. It's a different division. But yes, I think if you can get one more in that situation, you can really deter Heavy from fully committing. There is a goal portal, but again, because of the recent nerfs, you can't just kind of flood through the gates. Alif, with the help of Butterfly, actually finds one more, and let's see, Butterfly can cash in on this. Kabi not even paying attention, but Butterfly not finding the headshot means that Heavy has time to adjust.
Yep, Kabi backs away. Butterfly throw got in hand, meets him halfway through. Tatsuya on the burst, and Kabi just could not get away with a well-placed glue wall, trapping him in already. Beautiful play by Butterfly. An attack all around. Looks like they want to storm the front as well. Homeboys have barely recovered from this engagement against Heavy, and now attack all around. Look to steal away all of their spoils. Vitan backs away, low on that HP. Heavy at a risk of elimination here. Still the second circle. Pocket Market should be able to bring their team back.
Let's see though. He might not have the space to do so. Getting pushed by two members of attack all around. This could be kind of the last lifeline for Heavy.
My
and just
goodness.
not enough to stay in this game. Despite an explosive start, who would have thought the team that wiped them out was attack all around, who themselves were quite a distance away. So Heavy fighting out more than they could chew and really paying the price for it.
You may have the money, you may have the pocket market, but you need to also have the time to hit those buttons, bring your team members right back in. Unfortunate for him, couldn't really find that space. Attack all around. I mean, they smelt blood right in the waters and they swam right towards it. Onyx Olympus, on the other hand, managed to get away from a lot of trouble, initially losing Gardu as well as Kiba. Looks like a full team recovery here, and they also have the portal go in hand, so this should be quite a bit in terms of investment that they do not want to lose. So it's going to be a priority here for Onyx to avoid all engagements. The smart use of the UAV to scout out their position in front first. Yeah,
and we also caught a glimpse of Todak's state, right, which is basically wiped out with 0 eliminations under the belt. They are starting off the day with nothing in hand. And Heavy, slightly unfortunate, but they got 13 points before being eliminated by attack all around. So all things considered, they've essentially gotten a booyah's worth of points, which isn't that bad for a Heavy, right? They really needed those eliminations.
Well, let's see if Reverse Red can do something with this one, as WAG, a team that is pretty deadly on this map, is caught in a tight little spot. Vehicle exploded already. Portal go right at their doors, straight towards the roof of Reverse Red. So WAG could make a little bit of a attempt for the quick strike here. But Krillin backs away with the Woodpecker. Means they're dropping in for a defensive sort of setup, expecting Reverse Red to come knocking.
Seems like is that on the roof? It does seem like it's straight into the building. Okay, right on the edge, right? And Reverse Red, there is the buffer timer, so yeah, they're not going to take it. The old Reverse Red would have immediately done that.
Yeah.
WAG, now this is a very tense standoff between these two teams. I think for Reverse Red, they're just trying to see if they can find enough info before they strike. The circle is in favor of WAG, so, you know, by fate's will, Reverse Red will have to go through them.
Unless, of course, Homeboys choose to drop by the right-hand side compound and pay Reverse Red a visit first. In the meantime, Stalwart versus Buriram. This is a big fight. And those grenades are going to tag up the one and only player stuck between 3 Buriram squad players. It's due, and his snipe's not going to help him out in a situation like that. Cypher abandons project, backs away, but still does manage to pull a little bit of attention towards himself. One survivor towards the vending machine, so Stalwart should be able to pull off a revival. Dew comes back in, and this reset, I don't know if they can afford this engagement against Buriram.
Yeah, it seems like they have the thoughts of doing so. But we know that RQ Kazu will definitely commit to this. See if they can go for the rush though. This time spotting Legolas right in the thick of it. Does have a lot of blue walls, but Esports forced to take this engagement. Mao only 6 HP and Don't Cry finds a double kill with the Trogon. And unfortunately for RQ Kazu, they are just overwhelmed. This building belongs to PE Sports, Duts and Razor trying to keep the game going for RQ Kazu, but as Razor falls, Duts is just left alone against the entirety of this Vietnamese squad. Puts up the glue wall, turns the corner, and eliminated RQ Kazu out in 10th.
PE Sports is back with a bang. Yesterday was a solid day of play where they solidified their top 12 run early in the 9th spot, and they're starting off today hot as well as Homebois bow out in the 9th spot, giving Attack all around 3 easy points.
That is what we want to see from Attack all around. Just raw aggression and confidence from them. Maybe adding Limit to the team has helped with that. I mean, Limit himself was the MVP of the league last year during FFSI. So it's good to see kind of the change of face, the change of jersey, Attack all around. Feeling fresh and revitalized for the second half of the league. And the Poongor, just 2 direct shots to Don't Quite Scout to take him out. But he's going to push forward with the Trogon. Just making sure that PE Sports don't have time to recover. PE Sports not really sure of any details. That grenade actually snuck through the glue wall. Not enough to block the utility away. And Poongor, he is taking matters into his own hands. And PE Sports finds themselves completely surrounded and trapped within the confines of their own defenses. Poongor is delivering on every single front and Attack all around, looking to wipe out another squad.
I mean, beautiful play by Poongor. Knows exactly what to do, and a deadly combo with the guns in hand as well. He still has that Trogon. And 2 of the players on the side of PE Sports down on the ground already. WAG up on top. Attack all around, just taking big advantage here. But Krillin can make a big difference for his squad. The pickup will come on through, and they're reset for WAG. They wanted to pick away a couple of free points, but Attack all around just proving to be a little bit too strong.
Yeah, and just now off-screen, Reverse Ray actually got eliminated in 8th place. Wonder what happened to that. WAG though, despite coming in as a third party, still, like what we saw just now, is struggling against Attack all around, who already has 15 eliminations. WAG and PE Sports, both teams are crippled, and Cyrus takes advantage of that opportunity as he was still on the roof to at least get rid of Kiroro, making sure that AAA, as strong as they are, will not have the full squad.
Yeah, Cyrus inside of the circle. The 2 of the other players are desperately in a position where they need to find a safer spot for themselves. Attack all around. PE Sports throwing in a couple of bullets out there on the battlefield as well. Dewa on the rotation from the back, but there's no way they're going to drop by the very edge of this circle. Attack all around with 3 players moving on in towards Krillin. Easy shot for them, and they're slowly eating up space as they move forward.
Very well done for Limit. Runs outside of the circle intentionally just to drop the gold portal and instantly takes that route to go for a flank to make sure that it opens up a path for the rest of his team forward. Limit continues to deliver points. Although they're down to just 2 men, and now 1 is get Hi-Fi's jump guard, but I think Attack all around have done more than enough in this round. And the rest will be left into the hands of BRU, who comes in for the wipeout.
The flying Funa, that one hits like a heavy tuna, man. There's just no way you could get away from that one. The guy was using the glue wall to block away the shots from the opponent. Didn't expect someone to fly right over his head with a Drogon. Buriram, on the other hand, though, still do have a little bit of a heavy contender out there on the battlefield, fighting for the circle, the defensive spot. And instead of looking for their own defensive spot, they're chasing down all of the stalwart players. Caramel tagged up already. Down he goes. Due out in the open. M82B in hand, but up against 3 Buriram players at the same time. Guys stood no chance.
Completely ran down. BRU now needs to get through Dewa United Esports, who are assembling this fortress right at the circumference of the circle, not even wanting to let Buriram United take any sort of space. And this is a big threat, right? BRU, they can start taking damage from the blue the longer they stay around. And for Dewa United, it's just about running out the clock and keeping them at bay. And Mr. 05 knows exactly what his task is gonna be. Gets Moshi, gets Get High. BRU down to just 2 members. And Funa, try as he may, he gets Mr. 05. Wasana also putting in the legwork. Sam 13 perishes. And suddenly this whole franchise might be turned around. Dewa United Esports realized that this is not an easy fight and they back off, but we're back to an even state.
Yep, it's a 2v2. We still have the portal goals in hand. I believe Virus carrying one with himself, but the guy down on the ground. Funa sneaks on out, gets both the players and the booyah for Buriram. Insane stuff from the squad, especially Funa.
A clutch at the end, BRU style, just opening up the very first day of this week. What a performance. I feel like Dewa United Esports definitely had a good chance of winning it out, especially when they were playing 4v2, but slightly overheating at the very end and giving BRU the chance to turn it all around. So congratulations BRU, this is what we want to see. They continue to keep that lead.
Week 2 Funa versus Week 4 Funa are two very different people. This guy barely missing. I mean, by Week 3 we saw the MVP in him, but it looks like he's going to be sneaking off a couple of more of those titles for himself. Brilliant display of aggression. It looks like the change in meta has done absolutely nothing to his pacing. He's still taking those fights straight up to the faces of his opponents, and we did see a couple of nerfs coming for some of those CQC battle guns. We saw the Trogon getting nerfed, the Bison getting nerfed. This guy says, no problem. I've got the Woodpecker. Mid-range, close range, long range. It's a Swiss Army knife now.
Yeah. You can nerf the weapon, but not the player, right? The best player is unaffected by any sort of changes to the game. Again,
yeah,
they were United. The fact that they, went into the last circle with basically 0 eliminations, that was like the max they could get was probably 4 plus the booyah, and they still couldn't secure it. Must be a bit frustrating. But then again, they were up against BRU. You cannot let BRU get any single shred of advantage, and they just happened to let it slip at the end.
Yeah, and Dewa United was going for their very first booyah of the competition. So, not a very heavy-hitting team in the competition at all. They're not even in the top 12 right now. They're vying for that spot. And if you're just going to purely bank on the booyah points, I mean, go right ahead, right? I know exactly why they're trying to bank for that. Because prior to this, getting into early skirmishes hasn't done them too good at all. So they figured out how to get to that final circle, albeit in a game of Battle Royale. A little bit of luck is involved in that particular mix of decision-making as well. But they just need to find ways to sneak off a couple of eliminations, man. Maybe the meta needs to be beefed up a little bit in terms of their lineup.
And I think the craziest thing was that I think when we later look at the match standing for game 1, we might see the situation where, despite finishing in second place, Dewa United probably either has the same or slightly lesser points compared to Heavy, who got eliminated in 11th place but had 13 eliminations. So that could be a minor point of concern. People could say that, oh, Heavy just found the right fights in the early game, but still, if you are in the second circle, you have to be able to cash in a bit more points. And if you don't have the early eliminations, then you better make sure you get a booyah.
I absolutely agree with you, right? And with Heavy finding the right engagements early game, that could have been very much well prepared for as well. I mean, this is the team that played yesterday. They know their faults today. They just want to prey on teams that, I guess not that they can bully, but they have a fair chance of engaging and walking away with their lives as well as the loot as well. I think they've picked well thus far, and looks like their strategizing's working.
I mean, props to Dewa United Esports, right? It's the idea was there. You can see the angle. They just need to polish that a little bit. But for now, let's send over to Thailand and talk to BRU about their very first booyah.
Welcome to interview session. Now I'm with Puna from Buriram United Esports. Congratulations for the booyah. How do you feel for the first booyah?
รู้สึกไงบ้างคะได้บูย่าแรกของวัน
รู้สึกดีครับ
I feel very good.
Yeah. How many booyah you can get today?
คิดว่าวันนี้จะได้กี่บูย่าคะ
3 บุญญาครับ
3
Any team, another team, Thai team, have a new player. Do you team? What do you team? Additional player.
ทีมอื่นเขาเสริมผู้เล่นมากันตั้งหลายทีมคิดว่าทีมบุรีรัมย์ยูไนเต็ด Esports จะมีการเสริมผู้เล่นไหมคะ
ไม่น่าเสริมนะครับ เพราะทีมตอนนี้ก็ลงตัวแล้วครับ
Okay.
I don't think we will add any player because right now we are good at it.
Yeah. If there was a cash cross, what team do you want to play again?
ถ้าเกิดมีแข่ง CC Cash Squad กับทีมต่างชาติมีทีมไหนที่เราอยากเจอไหมคะ
อยากเจออินโดครับ จะเล่นตามกฎปกติครับ
I want to fight against Indonesian team but with the regular rules
regular rules okay any message for your fan
มีข้อความฝากให้แฟนๆไหมคะ
ฝากเชียร์ทีมบุรีรัมย์เกมต่อไปนะครับ
Please support at Buriram United Esports for the next game
thank you for interview are you ready for the next game
พร้อมไหมคะเกมหน้า
พร้อมครับ
okay ready back to you Shoutcaster
Man of little words, but I mean, the gameplay shows it all. By the way, to our new host, nice tats, I like it.
Absolutely, man. Nice ink, man. But you know, it looks like Buriram is trying to be very, very humble out there. They're like, you know, we're not trying for too much. We just stumbled upon some lucky circumstances, and we did the best that we could. And we walked away with massive number of points. Let's take a look at the MVP of the matchup and see if or not Mr. Puna walks away with it yet again. He definitely does. Perhaps the prize by the end of the knockout stages as well. 8 eliminations, 9 knockdowns in total. 4 of those headshots with a total damage of 3,070. This guy, beautiful stuff. I mean, especially that flying Trogon shot. That one's for highlight for days, man.
I mean, if he cannot overtake Wasana in terms of eliminations, he definitely can overtake him in terms of MVP titles, right? This guy is collecting it and just demonstrating it on a trophy case. We kind of theorized about the appearance of Joseph. Well, for the side of BRU, Joseph is non-existent. They're still sticking to most of the common picks. A little bit of adjustments here and there, but overall for BRU, there's not much changes. And this game is all about Funa able to get the eliminations and, you know, Wasana supporting him from the side.
Beautiful stuff as usual for him. Wasana walking away with a total of 4 eliminations. Moshi with the 1 for a total of 5. Get High walking away with 5 as well. 10 plus the 8 from Puna. 18 eliminations. 12 from the Booyah. Buriram has walked away with easy 30 points to start the day.
Yeah, very, very straightforward. And that, again, Buriram, they are going to get into the 700 point threshold regardless. And now they have just extended the lead even more. Even for elimination leaders, right? Funa ahead of everyone else with 8 eliminations. Then we have Jonah from Heavy with Kororo and Pungot from Attack All Around. And also V-Time for Heavy, all with 5 elims each.
Yeah, you brought up Heavy having, you know, massive number of eliminations. We saw Attack All Around popping off as well. Kororo and Pungot, both of them making it to this list, kind of shows that 17 eliminations in total for Attack All Around. So this was a very, very heavy game, top heavy, I have to say, for the teams when it comes to the eliminations. Some of the bottom teams that got eaten up, they barely got a few off of the screen.
Yeah, even for some teams who got eliminated, we didn't even get to see what transpired prior to their eliminations. Key players for this game, V-Time with that 5 headshots, Jamgord 22 glue or used, Alan with 2 rescue teammates, and of course Dudes with 2, revived 2 times.
That's a little unfortunate, man. I mean, the guy, a lot of rescues for WAG. I expected to see a little bit more from them within this game. You know, not a lot they walk away with, right? A total of 8 points. The Trogon, the nerf is there. The range has been dropped. The damage has been dropped a tad bit, but it's still popping off on the battlefield. 25 eliminations. Bison with the recent nerf doesn't seem to phase it at all. But of course, a little lower in terms of the eliminations, not getting that number 1 spot. But the Woodpecker may just be the new superstar.
It's been kind of a long time coming, right? I was wondering when would this meta shift a little bit. Everyone just running around with Bison. Some people have the audacity to use Mech 10 and win fights. So it's good to see that Woodpecker back on that list a lot more often, a lot more appearance. Of course, game standings, we looked at BRU, 30 points like you mentioned. Big 30 bomb to start off the day. And look at that. Heavy and Dewa sharing the same amount of points gathered for game 1 despite Dewa finishing in second.
And check out the eliminations, Husky. 18 for Buriram, 17 for AAA, Heavy takes 13, and the rest of the teams here barely scratching the surface with 5 eliminations. You know, the best Dewa PE could do were 4 elims each. This is super top heavy. If, you know, just a few teams are going to be robbing all of the other teams of their lives as well as points, I guess you really have to hustle more towards that final circle. You don't really want to be given up as just mere meat at the very start of the day.
Yeah, and I think if you are already in top 12 and you know for a fact you're not making it further than that, then sure, right? You just play for points to stay there. But if you want to break into top 12, then you really have to put in some extra effort. Look at BRU, 729 points, and the fact that Falcons will not be playing today means that they got their work cut out for them. It's going to be a heck of a Sunday tomorrow. Reverse Red trying to catch up the best they could, but again, Falcons is in front of them, so Reverse Red, they got to put in more work.
I really wonder what's the mindset like for a team like Homebois Conspiracy. They're down at the very bottom of the leaderboard. They need 135 points more than the team that's currently in 12th place in order to break through the top 12. Yes, they've got 3 weeks to play, but my question is, how do they even find the motivation to go out there when they can barely pick up 20 points within a whole days of play?
It's either drastic changes or you just go for you just trust the process, right? I personally thought that Homebois would be one of the teams to really, look at the first 3 weeks and say, guys, we got to make some changes. We might have to sacrifice some of you, but it's for the better, right? The strong stays, the weak might have to go. But surprisingly, they are one of the teams that did not make any roster movements during the season, during that 2-week break, which to me is shocking, but perhaps they're still holding on some hope. We'll just have to see, Purgatory could be their map.
Absolutely, buddy. Now, let's take a look at the top 3 teams as well. You've got Buriram playing in here today, Stalwart Esports, as well as Attack All Around Husky. These 3 teams have been dominating this map for quite a little bit. All 3 of them more than 100 points. But just because they're the top 3 doesn't mean we don't have other teams who perform well here, right? Esports, who already have a Booyah on Purgatory, Onyx Olympus, they're going to be a threat as well.
Yeah, and I think, for bigger maps, and crazy enough, PE Sports, Onyx Olympus, they somehow thrive a bit better. I think even for RQ Cars to a certain extent, right? You give them the right conditions, they will feel a lot more comfortable. You don't feel too pressed to contest everyone else because there's so much space on the map. The only challenge is how are you going to move around? How are you going to plan your timings considering that there's so much more ground to cover? We can only see when we head into Purgatory, and I also want to see if there are going to be any more hot drops. I feel like if Heavy are actively searching for it, this could be a good move considering that the momentum that they already gotten from Game 1.
We'll check in on that in a little bit. I did mention that a lot of these teams are going to try to scratch and claw their way up, but finding their momentum out there on the battlefield is not the only thing. Dealing with a team like Buriram is going to be the next one on the list, right? Even if you get to that final circle, what do you do about these guys, man? They're just relentless out there.
One thing I learned from Sao Paulo was the fact that BRU, they didn't perform as well, right? Like you could chalk it up to, it's jet lag, but I honestly feel like aside from the external factors, another thing is we're looking at the Latin region, they are willing to fight you, right? BRU are not given as much space as they get in FFWS SEA, and perhaps that's something that the other teams could look at as a case study. The one way to stop one of the best teams is to not give them the liberty to do whatever they want. Attack All Around against Dewa United Esports. This is an explosive start.
Yeah, very early scrimmage here, and this roll 5 for the Mag 7. Early knockdown, but Limit shows up with the Mag 10. That backstep gives him 1 life. Jump God finds the headshot as well, and Dewa United losing player after player. Sam 13, the final one, his A124 has been used up already. Can you get at least 1 pickup, 1 lifeline for himself? Homeboy showing up.
Wait, what?
That is the lifeline, and it's Attack All Around getting eliminated first. Dewa United with the recovery.
Wow. Butterfly comes in and steals a couple of eliminations.
Oh my.
If he had Dreki or something to see that the rest of Dewa were low, I think Butterfly would have cashed in an extra 3 points. But it's fine, right? If you're Homebois Conspiracy, that is the dream start and Attack All Around. What a heartbreaking way to go out. They were having a good time. Pre-fires, even pre-fires were landing, and they just had to have a third party from Homebois to stop that. Heavy, on the other hand, runs to the Todak again and gets their first point of the round.
It looks like Heavy is hitting those very heavy points early in the game. Hopefully, the same thing that happened in Bermuda does not happen to them again. They got taken down with 0 placement points, but 13 eliminations. So, yeah, I like the Heavy aggression, but perhaps I would like to see them more in that final circle as well. Let's see how they do against Todak, a team that has been struggling. 7 guy obviously didn't bring the Falco in. Zen is going to try for the save, though. Hans gets tagged up by the Homer. Traps about to get trapped as Jonah drops by for the assistance as well. P90 shots from afar, but Heavy really pushing in without really worrying about their lives at all.
I mean, if Heavy really did their homework, I feel like this could be a legitimate strat where they realize, hey, we're stronger than Todak. Might as well we do whatever we can, right? We stop them from getting anything, and we use them as a launch pad to get us closer to the top 12, or at least get us further on that leaderboard. And it's working out so far. In Todak, they're striking back. You know, Raja was able to find a solo elimination onto V-Tan earlier on, off screen. And now Heavy finds themselves on the back foot.
Have they bitten off more than they can chew here? P90 and a Bison up against Raja with a P90 as well. The rate of fire is going to be kind of equalized as Zen drops by for that backup, catching Hans's back. And the P90 180 by Hans drops that on the ground. It's the headshot. Raja taken down as well by Jonah and his Bison. Can he still get the job done though? 7 desperately trying to save his squad. Just needs to take down one more player. But Hans is absolutely annihilating. Smart play by 7. He takes out the player, Jonah, from the equation. 1v2. Hans barricades himself in. 2 players with the SMGs right outside. Perhaps this is the end for Heavy.
Man, he had time to heal himself back up. I mean, Todak, you better not let this slip. The fact that it went from a 4v3, 4v2 to a 2v1 is ludicrous. Traps, he does know where Hans is going, and Hans still able to duck away into the shadows, whereas for Trap, for 7, he's going to revive Raja first, right? Utilize that vending machine to give Todak a better chance, and this should be the cleanup that they've been looking for. Hans still gets the knock with the Bison 7. Not able to finish things off, and Raja, he doesn't have anything. He's so far away from Traps, and Hans earning the lifeline for himself, turns the corner. He's going to get stuck from the back, still joking it out. Traps, please. Just finish off Hans. Heavy should not be given that much space to survive, and Hans still fighting on. Finally falls in the hands of Traps. And you know what's the kicker? Heavy are still not wiped out just yet, and now Todak might just lose it all.
That was just one of the most beautiful engagements for Heavy. Hans just getting the MVP for that particular engagement, hands down. Survived long enough, and Todak are the ones to get taken out of the equation. This is just absolutely hilarious how things are breaking down out here on the battlefield. Homeboys, on the other hand, are actually doing well. 7 eliminations. That's a tad bit crazy.
Todak must be really punching the wall right now, because that should not have, gotten to that state. I would give credits to Hans though. That's the definition of Hans solo. He is literally wrecking Todak on his own. Sure, he went down, but Heavy is still in this game. Right, if Heavy got wiped out with that, then sure, right, it would have been a bit more acceptable. But the fact that Heavy are still alive is just crazy. WAG against Reverse Red. This is a tough engagement, and Reverse Red shows us exactly why that is the case. 3 quick knockdowns, and
that's it.
Alan didn't even get to make the U-turn with that vehicle. 10th place it is for WAG.
So WAG never stood a chance against Reverse Red. I mean, they were just falling like dominoes. Reverse Red just swooping on in, making it look like they barely broke a sweat. Homeboys, on the other hand, might break a couple of sweats here as Esports drops by to say hello. Fire is really low on that HP already. They do have the Ice Iron on the Nairi, so they get to top their health right back up just a tad bit. Narrow traded out. Homeboys do have an advantage against LBT. The glue wall not perfect just yet, but Homeboys choosing to fall back and wait for Esports. The portal goal is going to be laid out. Esports backs away. That's a very smart play.
Fire's getting the elimination as well. Homeboys Conspiracies with 10 on the board, but quickly had a rude awakening as LBT actually fights 2 of the Homeboys Conspiracy members as they were trying to make their way out with the gold portal. Doesn't make it any better. That Luffy, he comes back, buffers straight into Cypher's face, and is either death by Star Wars or death by Esports. Homeboys Conspiracy had to make a tough choice. But I believe that they are still not out just yet. Someone made it out alive.
Yes, Stalwart, on the other hand, is continuing the onslaught. Esports LBD has been spotted out already. They all gang up on him, but LBT turns things around. M1887 straight to the head, but just had the numbers disadvantage. Stalwart still wins that bout. Esports, though, hanging on within the lobby.
And Heavy, I believe, just revived one extra teammate. So increasing the numbers, it is a hard reset for them, but the fact that they are still in this game is already good enough. But the Indonesians, they're gonna start taking each other out. RQ Kazu losing a Razor, but Mao instantly gets an exchange onto Mr. 05. And RQ Kazu now looking to fully commit just a bit. Legolas in the front lines, Mao following behind his back, standing in the ice grenade. The chip damage not making it comfortable for dudes. The building seemingly surrounded by RQ Kazu as they get rid of Sam 13, who tries to go for a wraparound, but Virus able to get the trade at least, and Mr. 17 to back them up.
Yeah, Mr. 17 here, now being the threat, the slayer for the side of Dewa United. Sam 13 almost picked up, and in the meantime, Mr. 17 making big name for himself. Picks up yet another knock, looking for Legolas. There is one portal go in the hands of Legolas, and as I say that, he boosts himself towards the other roof, and off he goes. But the portal go usage by Mr. 17 as well, on hot pursuit, looking for his opponent. Legolas, smart play with the distancing.
Need to get as far as he can. Dewa United, they even popped the UAV to try and scan out where Legolas might be, but like you said, AJ, he is far gone. He has gained enough distance to not be in danger radius. So RQ gets to live on. Onyx Olympus, on the other hand, just chilling at the fishing hut, chilling by the coastline. They're not worried about any engagements. They're in the circle, even using the binoculars to scout out potential nearby teams.
And that's big praises for RRQ, I have to say. It is quite a heavy investment to buy 2 of those portal goals for yourself, the most expensive item within the vending machine. And they had 2 on themselves, right? Just for a situation like that. Obviously, one player got taken down a tad bit too early there. He had to use his insurance policy. And what a well worth insurance invested. His full team should be right back in it as PE Sports brings their players right back to the crosshairs of Red. And it looks like Reverse Red is going to have a field day here, aiming for the second player as well. They've already taken the first one out of the skies. Nameless, aiming for the second as he hurtles towards the ground. The trees helping him out a tad bit. Reverse Red will walk away with one easy one.
Yeah, duck hunting season for Reverse Red. 6 points in the bag. Next circle is about to form. Reverse Red will have to rotate just slightly towards the southwestern side. Not too much ground to cover. And they have 2 vehicles as well. So a lot of resources already in place. As Stalwart kind of touches down on their next pit stop. And we also caught a glimpse of Homebois conspiracy. I say that, but Don't Cry already found fires. And so that is unfortunate. Saming somehow finding Olive, and that's lights out for Homebois.
No matter what they do, they just can't seem to find the final circle, Homebois. They can barely get anything for themselves. Narrow taking himself out with the grenade launcher. Probably not how he expected that one to go. Onyx Olympus having to deal with Buriram United Esports from across the body of water. Question's gonna be, of course, who gets the advantage here. Gary was out from afar with the RGS 50. Goodness me. He must have a beasted on him. That's just insane in terms of the drop he got of the grenade.
The fact that he's landing those shots is kind of crazy, right? We saw multiple clues from Onyx Olympus. They had one of the best positions in this circle. It really felt like this circle, if the next one is still leaning towards their side, BRU would have to cross the river. But down in terms of numbers means that the defense isn't as strong. Reverse Red now running into Stalwart, and Reverse Red coming out on top so far with the knock. Stalwart did not stand a chance. And it's just fast, decisive, and surgical from this team.
Reverse Red now leading with 10 eliminations within the lobby. Stalwart's not out just yet as Cypher and Barros are brought right back in. Dewa United having to deal with Buriram United Esports as they circle around towards outside the circle. Dewa splitting off in a 2-2 buddy, and this is not going to serve them up well. 2 players on this side of the water sitting ducks against the players of Buriram. Wasana circles around. Get high down though as Mr. 05 and his shots from across the borders will be helping them out in this engagement. Mr. 17 taken out of the equation. Get high traded off. Sam 13 doing all of a number on Buriram, but unfortunately the maze of glue walls disables the other 2 players of Dewa from getting involved in this gunfight.
Look at that. I mean, BRU, they found 3. Dewa United still able to get out. It's a kind of a close call. The buffering of the goal portal almost costed Dewa United the entire team, but it didn't matter. BRU still won the important fights. Now Reverse Red continue the conquest into the safe zone. I talked about if the circle leans towards Onyx Olympus one last time, BRU will have to cross that river. And Onyx Olympus, they are in a very comfortable spot. In fact, they now want to expand their territory. Everyone taking that gold portal straight into RQ Kazu's face.
I really agree, man. And crossing the water is not going to be a problem if you've got the portal go in your pocket as well. Just flip it out, wait 1 second, and poof, you're across the waters already, ready for a little bit of action. Reverse red, 12 eliminations in hand. Looking to tease the players of Onyx. And RRQ does solo here as he leaves Legolas at the very bottom of the stairs. Going to knock on some doors. Legolas drops a nade, but on his own head. And Onyx Olympus with the advantage. RRQ out of the race.
Legolas is a madman. I was looking at him with the nade, and I was like, and
if
what
it hit, it would have worked.
Yeah, but in what condition would that have worked, right? You have glue walls blocking, holding off Onyx, and that nade was not going anywhere. There's no angle to toss it. Maybe he wanted to at least take Onyx out with him, but didn't get the timing right. Fortunate though for RQ Kazu. Heavy. This is a much better round. High elimination count for them. Now top 5 and facing off against BRU.
Yep, and they've got BRU on their tippy toes already, but Funa flanking from the right-hand side. The distraction by Wasana and his Woodpecker. Funa might just be the damage dealer here. Calls for backup with Moshi as well. Funa's been spotted out, has no backup. Here comes Heavy. They can take advantage, but the glue wall by Funa keeps away the Heavy players.
Oh, wow.
Hands down on the ground. Funa single-handedly doing a number on the Heavy players.
The crunch from BRU, they realize that Funa is compromised, they have to help, and every one of them pushed through from multiple angles. If Funa went down there, this could have gone entirely different for BRU, but the fact that he survived and buys enough time for the rest of BRU to come in from the back and dismantle the backlines of Heavy is just impressive. BRU continues to live on, and guess what, AJ? No one is contesting them. They get to heal up, they get to prep for this final fight, and potentially get a second booyah.
Back-to-back booyah for Buriram United Esports, and that was a perfect pincer maneuver, man. I mean, executed so well. It was all a question of who goes down first. Is it Wasana? Is it Funa? The answer is neither. Both survive, and they just executed that with beauty, with perfection. But now reverse red, and they have the high ground advantage, but is that a disadvantage as well, as both Onyx and Buriram are looking upwards? Buriram can attack the back portion of the players on the side of Onyx, and it looks like the grenade will get the job done for Wasana. Wasana knocked, stolen away by Diamond X. Posy sneaking away 1 point as well, but Buriram, they just have 2 less players to worry about on the rotation.
BRU are didn't even fully commit to that, right? They left 2 guys to keep eyes on. Reverse red, that sniper Wasana might have just won them the game. Samin goes down with Wasana. He's going to pull the trigger. Tatsuya dash right in front of 2 of them. Exposy tries to do the wraparound, but finds himself in the blue. The damage is just too overwhelming from BRU, and Wasana saving the entire round with the snipe. Samin, though, able to get Funa on the side to even out the scores a little bit. BRU now takes high ground to put reverse red on the low. Is Nameless to get Moshi. Sami to get Funa. Wasana, he needs time to recover and get high, is buying that space for his buddy. Reverse red, they do have the numbers, but now he's just down to Nameless as Wasana is going to mow through all of them. Despite having 19 eliminations, it is just not enough to stop BRU from getting their back-to-back booyah.
Every time Funa thinks he gets away with a list of MVP titles, Wasana shows back up and shows him exactly who dominates the leaderboard. The guy with the most number of eliminations on the overall leaderboard continues to keep that title in his own space, right? Beautiful stuff out of Buriram. And how can you beat this, man? Back-to-back booyah now. Both of them in tremendous fashion. Massive points.
Just came down to the most minute, the most minuscule of details, right? That one headshot for Wasana effectively won them the entire round. Had Sami not gone down at the very beginning, Reverse Ray would have had enough firepower to keep BRU at bay. So hats off to Wasana and the rest of BRU for being able to keep it together, not only landing crucial shots, but taking high ground away from Reverse Red, where it should have been Reverse Red holding BRU back. This is the force of nature that we all wanted to see. This is the force of nature that I think we kind of missed for 2 weeks straight, and now they're back, and they are back in a very strong way.
Yeah, you can take the Snapdragon Pro Series. We're going to focus on the main championship under Garena. It is going to be the FFWS Southeast Asia. And Buriram, with the kind of distance that they've put between themselves as well as Reverse Red thus far on the overall leaderboard, technically won't mean anything except the capability to just flex over them for the next 3 years, right? Because when we move on into the final week of play, it's going to be point rush. It's going to be reset of all of this effort, all of this hard work, and technically be 0-0 again.
Yeah, and I think, if you're Reverse Red, you're not too worried about this, right? Because first of all, Reverse Red, they've already secured their ticket to Riyadh, so this is kind of just a cherry on top to see how much they can get from this league before they eventually, take that flight and play at the EWC. Whereas for BRU, I think they know that they're going anyways because they're in the first place. There's nothing stopping them. It's gonna make top 8 at the end of the day. Props to both teams, but it's just BRU edging out Reverse Red at the very, very end.
Reverse Red has been that destructive force in the battlefield, and nobody could just do anything against them, right? Even Stalwart had to go up against Reverse Red at one point, and they were stumped exactly where they stood. Homebois, on the other hand, had a little bit more of a decent start this time round, just couldn't find that final circle once again.
Yeah, exactly. I think for this game, teams like Heavy also did pretty well. They fell in the hands of BRU, and again, this one also came down to the most minute of details, right? It was the fact that Funa didn't go down. If he went down, that could have been so much different. We might not even see BRU in the final circle. BRU survived that close shave, comes into the final circle, takes out Onyx Olympus with the help of Reverse Red, and instantly Wasana pulls off the sickest one-taps of all time. Can you believe it? This team, I feel like people hope for miracle. BRU creates miracles.
Dude, they're just playing it on a whole other level. Buriram United, they are a massive force to be reckoned with out there, because you talk about how powerful the A124 is. I mean, this is the team that abuses that because their gun skills are on another level. But we want to hear from the boys themselves as to what they have to say about their Booyah.
Back to interview session, and again, with Wasana from Buriram United Esports. Congratulations. Okay, get the first question. Do you think you can get 800 points today?
คิดว่าวันนี้จะถึง 800 แต้มไหมคะ
ถึงอยู่แล้วครับ
Of course you reach 800 points.
Okay. Many times, Shoutcaster prediction your team. Do you think caster prediction affect on your performance?
ปกติแล้วเราจะมีให้นักพากย์อะค่ะทายผลทีมประจำวัน แล้วหลายๆครั้งเขาก็ทายทีมเราคิดว่าการทายผลของนักพากย์อะมีผลต่อคะแนนของเราไหม
ไม่มีครับเพราะผมโหด
Not effective at all because we are already good.
Okay. In your team style, elimination or placement more important?
ในการเล่นของทีมเราอะค่ะคิดว่าแต้มอีลิมกับแต้มแรงอันไหนมีผลมากกว่ากัน
สำคัญทั้งสองครับสำคัญทั้งสองครับแต่ก็อีลิมก็ดีกว่าครับ
Both are already important but I prefer elimination.
Okay. Last question. Do you think you can get champion for FFWS World Series?
คิดว่าเราจะได้แชมป์ในลีก C ครั้งนี้ไหมคะ
แน่นอนอยู่แล้วครับ
Of course.
Okay.
100%.
Any message for your fan?
มีอะไรฝากถึงแฟนๆไหมคะ
เดี๋ยววันนี้เอา6ปุยามาฝากครับ
Yeah.
We will take 6 booyah for the fans.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for interview. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
You gotta love it.
You know you've made it when you are trying to win games for your fans, right? It's like, no, it's not that they want to win
No,
for
the
themselves.
confidence.
The confidence. We're gonna do it for our fans. That's how you know you've made it. It's coming from the guy that has not won a world trophy just yet, but he came so close, right? I think again, not taking anything away from it. I'm just saying that he is on his way to do it. If last year was so close, I think this year could be it. Thailand, they're back on that world stage again. Recently they showed lifetime how it's truly done, and maybe last year could be a fluke. We'll just see, right? The SSD going to be happening at the end of the year. Well, like you said, AJ, Funa got the MVP in Game 1. Wasana claps back in Game 2.
And they are going to clap back on the world stage later on as well. I think the Thais are 100% shocked that they lost the world championship finally. The trophy is no longer in the country, and they're desperately trying to get it back. Let's look at the meta a little bit here as well. The Ice Irons, the Awakened Andrew still going to be rocking on the side of Buriram. No Joseph spotted here. You can tag us up all you want, but you're not going to get the elimination. The confidence on this squad is admirable.
Yeah. And we said that, Get High, he has been trying to buy space for his team. He has the J Beeps equipped as well, so that does help your team, especially when you're playing together most of the time. This CQC is at the final stages of the game. Ghost Wasana clocking in 2,673 total damage, and even as a support, Get High, he's raking in those 2,000s, which is a pretty crazy. But the elimination leaders, everyone in this Hall of Fame has 5 eliminations each. Saming and Exposy from Reverse Raid, Nameless as well. Butterfly from Homebois Conspiracy made it onto the list, and who can forget about Wasana from BRU?
Yeah, Reverse Red picking up massive number of points here through eliminations once again. Earlier, I believe they got 17 of those eliminations. This time, they, kind of stack on a few more for themselves as well. Homebois with Butterfly getting those 5. I'm pretty sure, even he did not expect to walk away with that. Attack All Around did not expect that as well.
Yeah, it's from the early, skirmish, right, that he just happened to stumble across and reap the rewards. But even for the key players, you can see Legolov, he destroyed a lot of glue walls and also himself with that grenade. But Hans, I want to talk about this man. 8 headshots. I think a lot of it came from the early fight against Todak. So, better keep an eye out for this man. And Wasana, the most glue wall used 25. And it really does show that BRU, they're winning these close shaves fights and they kept stocking up. And that's what's been fueling them, throughout that final phases of the game.
The Drogon still blazing the battlefield, 14 eliminations, the #1 most used and of course effective weapon out there. The Woodpecker still making the top 3 list, and the Bison just refuses to walk away even after the nerf. The rate of fire definitely gives you an edge in the final circle. And when it comes to the CQC, which seems to be forced a little bit more now with the slower pace, it seems like you are going to be needing the Bison for quite a while.
I think Bison and Trogon, they're not going anywhere, right? We are slightly moving away from the shotguns, which I sort of miss. Even Charge Busters, I don't think we've seen any of them so far. In the game standings, though, despite not getting the Booyah, Reverse Raid had more than enough eliminations to make up for it. 28 points for them, and BRU getting a back-to-back places them second place with 23 points.
This is a massive run for Reverse Red, and it's just pure insanity. 19 eliminations. Buriram themselves could not keep up. And this time, of course, the elimination points are a little bit more divided across the leaderboard. You even have teams like Stalwart picking up 6 eliminations for themselves before getting knocked out early. Heavy had a decent number of points run as well. The only pain in Heavy's neck is the fact that Onyx is performing as decent as them. So this is the battle for the 13th and the 12th spot, right? Heavy's trying to break into the top 12, and Onyx Olympus just refusing to let go of their position. But they're not too far away from each other now.
Just what,
4
points? Yeah, 4 points separating. Even for RQ Kazu, they are slowly but surely, regressing to that danger zone. They are not even in 400 point mark yet. WAG and Onyx Olympus, even Heavy, now have a very, very good chance of potentially catching up. BRU, not say they're still far ahead. Reverse Red, despite their best performance, still are not able to overtake Falcons. That means BRU, you don't have to worry much about being at the top. The view must be different, right? You are focusing on different stuff. They're fighting amongst themselves for MVPs, Hall of Fame eliminations, getting booyahs for the fans supporting them. They're not playing this game. They're playing a different game.
Yeah, I truly agree, right? And I feel like Buriram themselves were in the midst of experimenting quite a little bit. But of course, we're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, 4 more games.
Supplier! How'd you like them apples? Supplier! How'd you like them apples?
Welcome back, survivors. This is the Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia 2024. My name's AJ. I'm the Mustachio, down here with Husky. And it looks like today is yet another banger of a day, but a little bit of a different storyline. Yesterday, we looked for perhaps a little bit of hope down at the bottom. Some of the Vietnamese teams performing superbly well to break into the top 12, to solidify their position in the top 12. But today is just all out Buriram, all out reverse red. The dominators of our overall leaderboard are looking to exert their dominance once again, Husky.
Yeah, and I think, top 4 is out of the questions, right? Don't need to look there. It's going to be Thai teams. We're looking at fifth place onwards. Evols, Divine, InnoStars, who are unfortunately not going to be playing today. Tag All Around, though, sitting in 7th place, had a hot start. Game 2, very unfortunate, intercepted by Homebois Conspiracy, knocked out with 0 points, if I'm not mistaken. There's still some chance for them to recover, but again, for Attack All Around, if they want to catch up to the teams in front of them, they have to rake in some big points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And thankfully, the 2 teams in front of them are not playing. They are in Group A, so they have a lot of opportunities. Basically, just 4 more, right? 76 points in 4 games. The usual Attack All Around would be able to pull this off, but the recent form of Attack All Around hasn't really shown us their aggressive side just yet. But this is after the meta changes, so perhaps they're still trying to get used to a little bit of that slower pace, and we might just see that benefit them in the long run.
And what was the total points you said Homebois got yesterday again?
16.
16? I think in the first 2 games they've already surpassed the performance of yesterday, which is good news for Homebois, right?
By 2 points, but okay, yes.
By 2 points. Still better, right? I think
Yes.
anything is an improvement. Though I want to see, how are they, if they can at least slightly overtake Todak, because I think, because Todak so far ain't doing too good. So there is a chance for Homebois to not be at the bottom, and I think that just could be a start.
That could most definitely be a start, right? I mean, you take 1 step at a time, perhaps aiming to get 135 points more than the one in the 12th spot may seem a little daunting, but you take day after day, you just look for 1 jump or maybe 2 jumps on the overall leaderboard, and before you know it, at the end of the 3 weeks, Homebois is going to be in your top 12. But that might just be asking for a lot from a team that can barely sustain their gunfights out there. And this is just so weird. We usually see them a little bit more motivated than this. It seems like their spirits are broken. We haven't seen Homebois in really good form, and it's been a while.
It's been so long. I think the fall from grace of the kind of the roster, right, from this original form to through all the shuffles, it has just been it's just been heartbreaking. There's just been going down. You hardly see any sort of influx of their performance. But again, competition here is very tight. I think Homebois Conspiracy are still so searching, still trying to figure out how are they going to overcome everyone else who is better in terms of gunfights, better in terms of macro. And there are so many hurdles to go through. Alpine coming up next, and guess what? BRU, they love this map.
They do love this map, and on top of loving this map, they have promised their fans 6 booyahs from today. Now, I know they are the most dominant, I know they're the most ferocious, but can they maintain consistency for all 6 games? If they do, I think they would have carved brand new history for themselves to be like the most... I mean, they've done that in the past, but not 6 booyahs. They've never had a clean sweep of booyahs before.
No one has ever done it, right? They've already made history of making it to every single World Series and winning 2 of that World Series. And then
almost
the other
winning
2,
a couple.
almost. Well, they could have won 4, right? The other 2 that they finished second were just by just a small fraction of points, a single digits, 3 points, 5 points. So I think that itself is good enough for BRU. But if they, like you said, closes out the whole day with 6 booyahs, I think you really have to give props to them. Undisputed kings of SEA, if not already that.
And once again, they are the leaders of this map. 3 Booyahs to their name. Nobody else even has 2 Booyahs to their name. As you can see, Falcon as well as EWOS here, they are not really as excited to go out there and get those points for themselves. Guess why? Because they're not even playing, so we're not even going to be looking at them. The top 3 that are going to be in play here is Buriram, Stalwart, as well as Attack All Around. All 3 teams from Thailand. If you want to throw in the 4th team there, Reverse Red performs really well here as well. Those teams are not very proficient at getting the Booyah on Alpine.
Yeah, not as close as you would like, right? And again, the fact that we are not seeing those names aside from Buriram in the top 3 really says a lot, right? Statistically, VRU should have an easier time winning out this Booyah. And if they do, it's already a hat trick, right? 3 Booyahs in a single day, we've seen it, but 3 consecutive Booyahs, that would be something new.
Absolutely, and if anybody can deliver that, it is going to be Buriram United Esports. And I guess all of that prep in the first 3 weeks is for exactly this. We're about to transition into Alpine. Let's see if or not the back-to-back Booyah is going to be made possible by Buriram.
The evolution of the competitive scene has taught us one thing, which is that records are always being created and broken, which in of itself is crazy, right? We never thought that it's possible for a single team to get close to 40 points in a single game, and yet we have seen that time and time again. 35, 36, 38 points. Some of them championship winning rounds. VRU in this map, they should have a very easy time just going for the drops. This flight path very generous to every single team out there.
Buriram thus far, within 2 games, have already garnered 53 points. If they can keep this pacing up, we're going to see them end up with 150 massive points by the end of the day. And that's in line with their aim for the 6 Booyah. So let's just see if or not that is going to be even remotely possible based on how they take the drop this time around. As they hop on out of the flight path, it is a straight drop towards Malaysia as well as Snowfall. Should be a split drop here for Buriram, as they usually like to spread out.
And right off the bat, Attack All Around actually getting the first blood onto Reverse Red. Saming goes down, and Jump God finds member number 2. On the other hand, while the Malaysians, they have turned on each other. Todak runs into the Homebois, and so far, Todak winning out Wings, able to get the second elimination and the knock. But Homebois Conspiracy, they are striking back. Wings might just be left alone. So far swarmed by Homebois Conspiracy, but thankfully there is a backup from Zen, and Wings will take that opportunity to go for the revive. Homebois Conspiracy, their luck has ran out. First team to get knocked out.
Not too pleased for Homebois at all, but here comes Heavy now to knock down on the doors of Todak. Perhaps the Malaysians preyed on each other, but now here comes the Vietnamese squad, who desperately wants to break through the top 12, and they've done phenomenally well today. They only need about 4 points to catch up with Onyx Olympus, so that's not a lot at all. But as I speak about Onyx, they're picking off points against WAG. RGS in the hands of Jonah, not going to find anyone, but Reverse Red on the other hand, it looks like Sao Paulo took quite a lot out of these boys.
Yeah, it really does feel like it. Let's take a look at, Heavy on the other hand. He's still committed to finding Todak. It seems like that's the case. The Homer was used, and then taking advantage of that VTUN, good coverage. And Zen gets traded out, and Todak, yes, time to call it quits. Just not worth it.
They were united up against Attack All Around, though, at Malaysia, as they set themselves up a vending machine here to abuse for the side of Attack All Around. They've already used it for 2 revives. AY United, they try to get that high ground, but still are at a disadvantage with a number of players here in a 3v4. And off-screen, Kabi finding 7 from the side of Todak, so not too great for the Malaysian side once again.
Hunt continues. WAG. There's a stray Krillin, well, being found, unfortunately. Attack All Around. Virus getting a 6 shot onto limit. That is the man that you want to eliminate, but at the cost of the rest of your team. Attack All Around instantly just replies. Virus will have enough just to get one of his teammates back, but Attack All Around still outnumbering and overpowering Deva United. So these boys gotta run.
Yep, had enough just for that 1 revive, but that is insurance enough for the time being. WAG, in the meantime, refusing to go down. Virus buys Mr. 05 back as well. Managed to drop onto a coin machine for sure. As attack all around continues to hunt down the players. Virus gonna get caught out. And yet another point for attack all around. 8 so early in the game. Now they just have to make sure they don't get knocked out.
The dream start and attack all around. Aside, just putting game 2 aside, they have been having a pretty decent day so far. That means 8 points. They are 4 points away from already a full Booyah's worth of numbers. Some teams making adjustments. No RQ Kazu. They decided to bench Razor for this time and bring in Abe. Even for the side of Stalwart on the other hand, they're gonna remain with the same roster. In fact, a more quieter start for this team.
They seem to have purchased the Arsenal key. One of the main focus of all of these players is to get that upgrade on that glue maker. So the glue wall chips are going to be much needed, as well as Buriram usually just focuses on their raiding skills, right? This is a team that plays their meta so well. All of their active passive skills mainly focusing on the defensive structure to beef them up. And in terms of firepower and the capability to take players down, they already have it within their mechanical skills, right? So it's a really good balance instead of some of those teams out there who are just trying to look for that edge on that damage output, as well as the capability of finding eliminations through the active and passive skills. Buriram does the exact opposite and seems to be winning quite big from that.
Yeah. You just have, there is very little point to be a glass cannon if you get like kind of one tap, right? So I think BRU fully understands that. Gotta find that delicate balance. Attack all around will be right in front of Onyx Olympus. In fact, already getting a first blood. Gary even has the nade in hand, but just got snuffed out from a ridiculous angle. I believe Poon God found that knock. Attack all around, they can just rush in. Kiba had his attentions on Kororo, but he still is going to be swarmed by the rest of attack all around. Jump God wins that one easily against Kiba. Gardo did run up the hill to get rid of Limit, to alleviate kind of that long-range support from the side of attack all around. And now Onyx Olympus, they're just going to split up and to increase their chances to survive in this round.
Absolutely. But Joel tagged up by the Homebois already, a tad bit slower in terms of his rotation around. M82B whipped out. Not enough to shut down Kororo, but enough to make him slow down at the very least. Boongod still going to be an annoying player on that left-hand side. So this pincer could just be the end of Joel, but a good M82B use once again. Getting Kororo low enough, but one round around the corner. Couldn't get the shot off. Has got the MSMC in hand. Sprayed down to the ground. We saw the ideation. Execution part just a little soft for Joel.
Yeah, I think he felt like he realized that there's nothing much he could do, right? You just have to try and fight your way out. Maybe bring one guy down with you. Yeah. Great response from Joe, but just overwhelmed in terms of numbers. Todak this time able to play the game for a bit longer, even getting 4 eliminations early on thanks to wiping out Homebois' conspiracy. But now it's time to outrun the blue and get into the circle. Thankfully, the next circle is still within range. So Todak, they're not going to be too stressed out about it.
Just talked about Homebois earlier, and they kind of clunked out a little bit too early here, Husky. They picked up 18 points from the first 2 games. So this makes it for 20. But an average of 20 divided by 3, don't you? Okay, first of all, my math says you cannot divide 20 by 3. But either way, once you go into the point segment, that's just way too low of a point to pick up per match.
Yeah, even for Todak now against BRU. This has been a recurring trend. Every time Todak runs into BRU, it's lights out. I don't think they've ever overcame BRU in a full-fledged team fight.
No, sir.
Moshi just shrunk that chances. I think Todak realized that this is an unwinnable fight. Look at two of the players just hugging the vending machine, but you might have to just start running. Yeah, to get the first revive, he's going to buy, 7 is going to buy as much distance as possible. The rest of Todak is all about using your life to buy your team time in this game. Look at that, he's not even thinking about fighting back. He just wants to outrun Wasana, but you know it's not possible. So BRU gets 2 free points.
I'm not understanding the part where he's just giving up and not trying to fight back, because he could have stood a chance, could have bought a little bit of extra time here, but it looks like Toda is just choosing to abandon all options and run off on foot. Wings Tagged up a little bit by the circle. Funa looking to do the rest of the damage. In the meantime, Stalwart finding attack all around. Assisted by RRQ. Attack all around not winning out this engagement. They have to rotate. They get tagged up by the Homer. Poongot eats a nade as well. As the Bay High gets traded out by Stalwart on the opposite side. They're all preying on each other.
All I want to know was how much glue wall melters did Abe toss out? That was at least 4 glue wall melters. And without any backup as well. Legalov.
Oh my god,
wow,
he still gets it.
That is just sick. That is just sick from the side of attack all around. It should not have happened. Legalov goes down and now chances attack all around might still be eliminated, but RQ Kazu, that was just unacceptable.
Another round for attack all around. Massive number of eliminations at the start of the game, but they just could not sustain position-wise. That was just horrible. Out in the open, surrounded by 2 teams. They were sitting ducks. And easy elimination points here for Stalwart as well as RRQ. The battle still does continue between the 2 teams, though, as the Bay High gets knocked down to the ground. A pickup is not going to be impossible. Yeah, it is possible here, as Dew manages to get that with that AWM shot from afar. Portal Go is going to help Stalwart quickly reposition and to continue torturing the players of RRQ.
It's trying to find vision, but RRQ, I think, are far away. Far enough from Stalwart, at least. Can't say the same for Kabi. Actually, leave knocked down by the Homer. Even A124 committed from the side of Raja. So, easy point for Todak. Wings, though, gets knocked by Wasana, and you just cannot outrun BRU. And Heavy is the one that kind of puts the final nail in the coffin.
This is one of the teams that has been on a uptrend recently with the new fire within their hearts, but they're not the best Vietnamese team in performance. Esports is, with LBT not picking up a engagement just yet. Wang Ang managed to get that knock, all thanks to LBT's initial efforts. But this is just easy pickings for Barros from up top. RRQ barely doing anything to respond here. The Portal Go does help the rest of the team abandon this fight, and they're all just waiting on the opposite end for Barros to step in as well. He's going to call Cypher in. Stop goes there as well. Everybody storming the front of RRQ.
Man, they knew that they have enough numbers, so eventually they will overwhelm RRQ Kazu. The floodgates opened by RRQ Kazu, but the one who poured through was Stalwart. And it's just Mao. What else could you do? It's just 1 against 4, and Stalwart is going to unload every single clip that they have. That should be it. Abe and Mao both get knocked down, finished off, and RQ Kazu along with it.
Unfortunate that Portal Go led them to absolutely nowhere to run out of that small, tiny little hut as well. You're going to be sitting ducks in the open lands. And Alpine does serve up that bit of danger. Portal Go, although, could be a great weapon if you put it facing the wrong side. Probably you're not going to run away to safety just yet. Deva United do manage to find a defensive spot as WAG gets taken out of the run.
6 teams left. We're getting to the late stage. Just 12 minutes in. Onyx Olympus. It will have Heavy to kind of deal with, but Onyx Olympus, they're going to fall back into the building first. Let Heavy slowly push in. Onyx Olympus, they want space. They want to make sure that Heavy fights in uncomfortable territory. Chip damages being dealt to Heavy, but they are fully rushing in. They really don't want to let Onyx Olympus have time to kind of plan out the next move. And Joe is going to go for the flank. Kabi with the Mac 10 in hand. It is overview of just Heavy taking up space.
Epic leaderboard fight here. This is a big fight for Heavy. If they can shut down Onyx right here, right now, they overtake them in this round in itself. Kiba hanging on for his dear life. That Bison serving up those shots. Kiba managing to find Hans. Kabi shows up. He gets shut down as well. It's Heavy eaten up. Onyx Olympus survives.
Right into the meat grinder. As all the glue wall starts to get built up, Heavy, they still try to brute force their way through right into the crosshairs to spray down for Onyx Olympus to keep themselves ahead of Heavy on their leaderboard. Again, small margins. Heavy kind of got to the head. They thought that we got 2 knocks. I think we could commit to it. Forgot completely about the landscape of the fight. And they were United watching this entire thing unfold. guess what? Guess who's in the circle, AJ? Is BRU. They are in the best possible spot right now.
Stalwart probably might be the only team here that can undo them through those mechanical skills, but they have to be able to get in first. Esports trying to put an end to Stalwart's run. With that high ground advantage, Dew has been caught out here. This is a heavy engagement. M82B swapped out with that AWM, but here comes the portal go as well, putting Barros up on top of the roof. PE Sports delivering those grenades in outside the circle now. They both do battle. They cannot sustain damage like this. PE Sports gets the advantage. They find the safer zone. Stalwart, on the other hand, taking unnecessary damage outside the circle.
Yeah, I mean, Stalwart, what is the plan, right? Okay, this is going from bad to worse. Mr. 05, they were united. They were behind Stalwart. And now you might have to start abandoning your teammates. Huang Ang finding stop. They took the goal portal, but it's a bit too late. PE Sports, like you pointed out, were just in a better position overall. Stalwart's hesitancy is now costing them big time.
Oh, no.
With two teams shooting at them, the crunch is just enough to cripple STE.
That was just unfortunate, man. You cannot fight the fourth circle. STE found that out the very hard way. Deva United now trying to take advantage of the sweating PE Sports players who are desperately trying to get into this next circle. Blue chasing them from the back. Buriram meeting both the teams from the outside. Flanking around the right. Funa pushing on in with the Trogon. Looking for Mr. 17. Wasana with the backup as well. Get high on his high perch with a bird's eye view over PE Sports as well as Dewa. Dewa's going to get stuck outside with those ice grenades. Mr.
Oh
17
my God.
down with a grenade. Now PE Sports, the only surviving adversaries for Buriram.
Yeah, PE Sports able to use that goal portal, the remaining ones that they have to at least buy distance and give themselves a fighting chance. But BRU, you know they did not need to do that, but they did it anyways. Because why? Is Buriram United. Now it's a fair fight between these two squads. Moshi is perched on top of that boulder. Such good angles to work with. If PE Sports pops that head out, BRU is gonna have a good chance of taking this. Those glue wall melters will eliminate every single structure that was built out by PV painstakingly. And look at PE, the corral to the very corner. BRU, with just the sheer confidence and aggression, has forced and conditioned PE Sports to be in an unfavorable position. And now they're gonna block them off with the glue wall to force them to take damage from the glue wall. Sana in the front with Funa backing them up. It's LBT and Hong Ang first to get knocked down. Moshi finding number 3. Nero might get a trade, but now is Nero against the entirety of BRU. Both of them stop behind the glue wall, and BRU, Wasana is just gonna jump in. Those glue walls might not hold for long. BRU brute forcing through. It's Wasana on the ground, but they are not done just yet. The firepower is just overwhelming. AJ, BRU with the hat trick is 3 consecutive booyahs.
Back to back to back for Buriram, and Nairi's Ice Iron, the extra bit of HP, made the world of difference for them. This is the main reason why Buriram is always stacking on each other, right? To get some of those passives on the heel. They've got the Awakened Andrew there as well. They are a super tanky squad with the mechanical skills as well as the game IQ to get the best out of all of those battles. One would expect Funa, Wasana to run straight in guns blazing, but they use their brains. You saw all of those glue walls, Husky. They were trying to barricade these boys of PE to get hurt by the blue instead of just using all of their bullets. That's just 3,000 IQ play straight up.
Such a smart play at the very end. There are a lot of things that you never really had to do that. BRU, why are you running outside of your safe zone to contest? Because they can, right? They know that they are that strong. This is some straight up psychopathic behaviors from these players that they can afford to pull it off. And at the very end, what do you do against an immovable object that is also an unstoppable force? I feel like at this point of time, at least for today, BRU, they're just looking way too strong.
79 points from 3 games, 3 booyahs from 3 games. I think
100%. 100% today.
Yeah, 100 on the dot, man. These guys are overperforming even when they do not need to. But of course, they are trying to practice a little bit as to how good, how effective, how ready is this current lineup of active and passive skills that they are walking onto the battlefield with. And I don't doubt this for a second that many of the other teams are going to start copying Buriram right after.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very good case study, especially teams that are not playing today, right? You have a lot to look at. This is how BRU, not only what abilities that they choose, what passive they decide to bring in, the way that they play the game is just on another level. Everyone is playing checkers, and then it's BRU chess grandmasters. Who would have thought that glue wall is not only just a defensive mechanism, you could use it to actually go on the offense and force your enemies into a bad spot. I mean, if you're PE Sports in a position, you're just like, what the hell is BRU trying to do? Oh, wait, we are getting eliminated without BRU having to do much.
Yeah, and this was Buriram just squeezing Dewa United outside the circle. They saw that Dewa and PE were against all odds battling the blue. And what do? They are the other wall on the opposite side, just forcing the blue to continuously hurt these teams. And the exact same strategy was used against PE Sports, keeping them at the very edge of the circle, not allowing them to take command of the space that was right in front of them, giving them a decent enough time to find some sort of recovery, use their grenades. They just kept all of the chaos on the side of PE Sports and wiped them out. I mean, you're right, man. Ravaging monsters these Buriram players are. It's
the
just
conditioning
all
is
out
working.
annihilation.
They run to PE Sports. PE Sports had to defend themselves and end up locking themselves out of the game. But we have to talk to BRU again about their third win of today.
Welcome back to interview. I'm with Mochi from Buriram United again. Congratulations. Okay, let's first question. You achieved 3 Booyah in the row. What do you think you can get more?
ตอนนี้เราได้บูย่าติดต่อกัน3เกมแล้วเราว่าเราจะได้อีกไหม
ได้อีกแน่นอนครับผมว่าอาจจะมี5
Oh, gosh, sure we can get more, maybe 5.
What's your team strength more than another team?
คิดว่าจุดแข็งของทีมเราที่ไม่เหมือนทีมอื่นคืออะไรคะ
ก็น่าจะเป็นความเข้าใจกันแล้วก็สกิลเพลย์ส่วนตัวครับของแต่ละคน
I think it's the communication between inside the team and the skill play of each player in Buriram United Esports.
What Thai team hard to fight again?
คิดว่าทีมไทยทีมไหนที่ยากที่จะสู้ด้วยอ่ะ
ก็ถ้าฟอร์มตอนนี้ก็น่าจะเป็นฟาลคอนครับฟาลคอน
Team Falcon. Team Falcon. Okay, thank you. If you can choose 3 players from another team play with you, who will you choose?
ถ้าเกิดเลือกผู้เล่น3คนจากทีมอื่นได้ คิดว่าจะเลือกใครมาเล่นกับเรา
ออนไฟครับจากฟาลคอนแล้วก็ไดมอนด์ครับแล้วก็น่าจะเป็นสายฟ้าก็ได้ครับสายฟ้า
Okay, so on fire from team Falcon and Diamond from Reverse Red and then STE สายฟ้า
Okay, thank you for interview. Any message for your fan?
มีอะไรฝากถึงแฟนๆไหมคะ
ก็ขอบคุณที่ให้กำลังใจมาโดยตลอดครับแล้วก็ BRU ก็จะทำเต็มที่ครับ
Thank you for supporting us. We will do our best.
Yeah, thank you interview. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
You know,
Back-to-back games, man.
yeah, you know, was it week 3 or week 2? I think one of the BRU members said that, was it Jonah? He said, oh, if possible, I want to bring every single one of my players to be interviewed at the end of the game. They're halfway there, right? We still have
Yep.
Get High, we have Jonah himself, and the coach, right? They win the other 3. They not only make history for winning an entire day, 6 Booyahs in a row, but also we get to talk to the entire team, which granted for everyone.
There's just no touching Buriram the way they are right now. The meta change should have affected them the most because they were the ones really abusing the bottle goal, but it seems like it has done absolutely nothing to them. And Mochi this time, sneaking away the MVP title from both Funa as well as Wasana. He brings in the Iris. They don't run the Joseph, but they are doing all of the tagging and the marking. They want to make that Susie earn a couple of extra coins out there on the battlefield, because this is that one team that really focuses not on the elimination points, although, you know, it's very easy to think that they are looking for that. This is a team that usually looks for money at the start of these rounds, just so that they can abuse the vending machines first.
I mean, it's such a dirty way of playing the game. You look at the comp that BRU has, right? Okay, they have lesser Tatsuyas thanks to the recent nerfs, but now 2A124. First of all, you can't use your abilities because they have 2 disablers, right?
Yeah.
And they have Wasana running at you because this guy's a sociopath. They have Dreki, you can't heal behind blue walls. They have a lot of blue wall melters which they stock up from early game, and if all else fails, Mochi has the Iris. What you gonna do? Hide behind blue walls? That is not going to work. I think BRU, they have had this figured out. And who needs a goal portals to kind of flank your enemies? They were like, well, go portals. We'll just play it how we did previously when we won the World Championship back in 2022. We'll just play traditional Free Fire. We will run it too.
And clearly they know something that the other teams don't just yet, because they are one of the few that do bring in the Wolfra onto their team lineup for the passive skill. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Onyx Olympus managing to get themselves onto the elimination leaderboard here. And this was a lifesaver for them, because those that were knocking on the door was a team that could have taken away the 12th spot from them. That was Heavy, but they single-handedly, with their own efforts, finished off the hopes of Heavy in that game.
Yeah, I think the Wolfra also helps them survive all these kind of long-range engages, right? You do reduce damage taken from headshots, and the best case is that damage to enemy limbs increases. So now I don't even have to worry about landing headshots, grenades, explosives. They are gonna do so much more damage, spread damage, even with shotguns like Trogons and all that. I think BRU, if they definitely know something that other teams don't. Key players for this game: Legalov, again, most glue wall destroyed. V-Time with 6 grenade usage. Jump God rescued his teammates 2 times, and Wasana, like we said, most glue walls used.
Yeah, 18 glue walls out there on the battlefield. We can clearly know that he focused on his glue wall maker first before anything else out there on the battlefield. The Trogon will take the top 3 weapon spot this time as the most used weapon for the eliminations, followed by the Woodpecker, and the Bison makes it to the top 3 once again as well.
And just nothing much has changed so far for the top 3 weapons. I think the Trogon will continue to kind of reign supreme, but it's good to see the Woodpecker now getting the respect it deserves, right? It's been quite a while. Back then it was between like what, Woodpecker and AC80, but that was almost a year ago. Game standings, BRU this time didn't break into the 30 bomb, but still an impressive and respectable 26 points, followed by Onyx Olympus, who only managed to get 16, and even PE Sports, who finished second, only got 14.
Yeah, Onyx is just only focusing on getting points more than Heavy. As long as they continuously do that throughout the whole day, they're not going to lose their top 12 spot. In fact, they have also managed to catch up with WAG in terms of a little bit of dominance right now. There's a little bit of space between them as well. WAG, on the flip side of things, hasn't really been doing well. 6 points from this game.
This is not a good outlook for WAG. They kind of did a lot of heavy lifting in the first 3 weeks to make it into top 12, and now to watch it slowly slip away and being a chance of being overtaken by Heavy, despite having the most booyahs out of anyone else in the bottom 8, is very concerning. The overall standings will tell us a better story of that. WAG now are just 4 points away from tying up with Heavy and winning out in terms of booyahs. BRU continuing to extend that advantage, 120 points ahead of Falcons right now.
Yeah, WAG definitely needs to be made into a case study. How do you walk away with 6 booyahs and still sit down on that 12th spot, right? There must be something fundamentally wrong with some of the approaches that they have in the game, because they are doing much better than some of these teams in terms of finding their way towards that final circle, but their engagements, perhaps their passive skills list, may not be as strong as what they require it to be. Perhaps they're a little bit more towards the damage engagement out there. Maybe if they built themselves like a tank, they could survive these fights a little bit longer.
I mean, you say that, but even in terms of eliminations, it's nothing too impressive compared to everyone else. Look at Heavy. Heavy is sitting at 200 eliminations, 20 more than WAG, and yet they are only 4 points behind them, right? Not to mention that there are 3 booyahs behind WAG. So I agree. I think, so there's something that's fundamentally awry with WAG. They might have to look into it, because you're winning rounds, but at what cost? You're losing the entire, the rest of the league. Game 4 is going to be Kalahari. Doesn't get any easier for these teams.
Doesn't get easier at all. And of course, if we hop on over to the list of teams that do well on this map, you are once again going to see Buriram show up. 4 booyahs at Kalahari thus far. Their goal of hitting 6 booyahs back to back to back to back to back might just be possible, man. What a day it's going to be for Buriram.
4 out of 12 booyahs achieved on Kalahari. That's 1/3 of the booyahs that they have.
No, they've played 8 Kalaharis.
It's 8 Kalaharis.
50%
oh wait, so
they
that's
walked away with the
50%,
booyah.
yeah. 50% booyahs on this map, right? But of course, the total booyahs that they have is 12. It's still 1/3 of it. It is still a crazy statistic.
A total of 192 points picked up on this map. I would want to argue that this is hands down their best map, but it's not, man. Alpine still takes the game. And that's how crazy Buriram is as a squad.
Yeah, they have like what, 778 points now, and 192 came from Kalahari, right? And we have 5 maps in total. So that means that this is more than 25% of the total points that they have. You can do the math. Just know that BRU is an insanely crazy team. No teams come even close. Even their best contenders, right? The teams that had the best chance, like, you know, Reverse Square, Falcon, Stalwart, even they were left biting the dust. You can only imagine how far ahead BRU are, you know, regardless of the meta.
And there's a 50-point gap in what they have managed to walk away with Kalahari in tow against Stalwart, who is the second best team on this map. Either way, Stalwart, Reverse Red, they're not doing too great today. These are the top 3 teams from Thailand. In fact, the top 3 teams within the top 12, the 12 teams that are playing in here today. And because Stalwart and Reverse Red are not doing too well, that promise by Wasana for 6 booyahs, man, it's just looking more and more realistic as we go.
I mean, we've been you know, joking about these kind of promises. If there's anything that could do it, probably BRU, but it never happens, right? Because it's too far-fetched of a dream, in fact. But BRU, if they can achieve it, I guess we can definitively say that they are literally miracle makers.
RRQ hoping for a miracle here as they find more coins because PE Sports are trying to touch them out of the lobby. Legaloth already pumped his A124, doesn't have enough to buy a skill card from the vending machine. Will have to play this really smart here. If he gets slowed down, it's going to be over, but they do have the PE Sports players surrounded. Narrow trying to find the back door. Backstab, not possible. Instead, Abe High with the double revolver, find him. Don't cry now. Pulls out the AC-80 CQC. He drops Abe High. That was a battle I did not expect him to win.
Yeah, and if RRQ Kazu losing Abe means that they're down 1 man, but it seems like overall, still doing pretty fine. Don't cry, just running at Deuce with the side up. Finally decides to pull out the gun. He is done with all these Chow Spray. Legalov gets caught, but thankfully for RRQ Kazu, they have done just enough to knock out PE Sports, and it is just unfortunate.
Did these 2 teams have like some sort of an agreement with each other? Like, guys, since we can't attack anybody else, let's just attack each other and just call it a day. Toda and Homebois once again getting into a little bit of a tussle, and Toda just could not hang on. Here comes Homebois claiming 4 points off of them.
Well, I guess if you look at what happened in the last round, it is just revenge, right? Toda wiped us out in the last round. We're going to do it this round. The Malaysians are fighting. I mean, what can you say? They're both at the bottom.
Yeah, at least they get like some sort of like a positive engagement sometimes when they meet each other.
Yeah, sure, but if you're just farming each other and then you get wiped out afterwards, it doesn't do you any good on the leaderboard. That's not good enough.
You know, they're just looking for that one moment in time, Husky, where they can smile a tad bit. All right, give them a break.
To be fair to Homebois, they are doing so much better than Todak overall today.
Yeah, that's true.
Now it's just about going further, but again, power level wise, it's tough. Onyx Olympus actually found him, I believe. Yeah, Gardu is behind. It could be a crunch coming in. I'm not sure how Homeboy's conspiracy wants to deal with this, though. I feel like you might have to fight your way out.
Preston is Candy. Alif tagged up. Gardu has the Bison, continues the spray, and Alif runs straight into all of those bullets. A tad bit unfortunate there for his game plan. Onyx now with the man advantage against Butterfly and Luffy. Grappling hook, and this is the hook gun addition into the vending machine as well. That is, of course, going to make the portal goes a tad bit redundant when it comes for looking for those roofs, because now everybody gets to find a roof.
Yeah.
This costs you 200.
That is going to be very beneficial to Onyx Olympus. Seems like Homebois wants to disperse, but they, not really given the space. Look at Gardu. He's going to come down from the top of the sub. This could catch Homebois off guard. It is a 1-for-1 trade. Okay, Luffy was able to find Kibas, and that does alleviate some of the pressure, but Butterfly would need a bit of help right now. Surrounded by the blue wall. Luffy also getting gone on. Joe keeping him away from his teammate. Isolated fights, that's what you want to do when you are down. And I think Joe has had it figured out. Now it's just Butterfly from behind. Butterfly equalizing the score. It's him and Gardu, and of course Butterfly has more health. Butterfly clutches it out at the very end. That's 9 points for Homebois.
Oh my, this guy was on a revival spree last week. This week, he is currently picking up elimination after elimination for Homebois. We were just talking about the performance, but here comes Reverse Red now to put an end to it. Alif taken out of the equation. Reverse Red finding the mark. The most unfortunate timing for the Homebois, who just concluded a battle for themselves.
And Dewa United, on the other hand, is going to be at Council Hall. Next target, well, the closest team to them anyways, is going to be Attack All Around, who has had a bit of a seesaw performance. You know, good games on Game 1 and Game 3. Underwhelming was in Round 2. Let's see if the fourth one's going to get any better. WAG also needs to buckle up a little bit. They're very, very close to dropping out of top 12.
Looks like Reverse Red's position is giving them an advantage against quite a number of teams here. Earlier against Homebois were right at the bottom, and now WAG, as they drop by the refinery, will have to meet heavy firepower through the Thai squad. And Diamond and his Bison can't really take a good advantage. But the glue wall does manage to save him, buy him a little bit more time as he uses the inhaler. Grenade from Allen will not find the connection as Boon James calls for a tad bit of backup from the rest of his team members. Now, where does that portal go lead to?
Wow, Exposy actually took himself out. I think that glue wall timing was just so unfortunate for him. And that gives Cyrus a free elimination. Boonjam now is going to get swarmed. Allen with the Bison doing just enough. Saming realizes the situation. We'll go for the revive first. Reverse Red, I just make the call to pull back. I think it's definitely the smartest choice. They don't need to take unnecessary risk.
Yeah.
Diamond does see the goal portal though, but
yeah,
it's just quite far from him. It's not the easiest one to reach.
Let's see if or not he spent his 200 coins for the hook gun. Allen met Diamond halfway through. Bison, Cyrus shows up as well. But Diamond still manages to drop Allen. Cyrus for the trade. 55 HP in here. Can that med kit be used? Just the inhaler. Diamond running out of time, running out of HP. Builds up a barricade of double glue walls for himself just to play that recovery. A124 on standby for him as Exposy drops by to help out his brother.
Yeah, the man who accidentally downed himself with a grenade launcher got revived by Saming, had time to come back with the weapon to back his team up. And WAG again overstayed their welcome. I honestly thought that Reverse Ray would pull back, but I thought wrong. Who would pull back? Reverse Ray, they like to fight. And they knew they could win that. WAG, the fact that they're still alive in this round is a nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate that WAG, although they had Diamond outnumbered, couldn't do much against him. I mean, Happy Feet, man, he was just dancing all around, erecting all of those glue walls, double glue walls stacked on each other. They couldn't even get the boost off of each other's shoulders over that glue wall. Had to try to break it. Guy just had enough within his inventory to make sure he can wait for that backup, and backup surely to arrive. Attack All Around, on the other hand, finding Team Heavy and surprisingly losing his life pretty early in here as Riyadh holds on to that right-hand side flank.
That means Heavy gets to reinforce this position. Attack All Around, making the smart choice to instantly back off. Let's take this fight, send out the UAV to cover more ground. The vending machine nearby as well. Wow, they come across Allen of all people. And just unfortunate for WAG. I believe there is still 3 men alive. They somehow got a full revive, but from this point onwards, it's all about surviving until the end.
As quickly as he went out, Allen has been revived already. WAG, they do have the advantage of that pocket market for the time being. In the meantime, Mammoth Homebois sitting on 10 points, wondering how do they find themselves in that final circle now and safeguard these 10 points to add on a few, of those placement points to the count as well, because that has been the bane of their existence thus far. They can pick up these early skirmishes, but just not get to that final goal.
Guys, look at that. Cyrus spotted by Dewa. There's just no safe space for WAG to go to right there. No match right now. It's all about playing it slow and trying to get the read on the circle right, and survive long enough. It's all about placement points. Heavy, on the other hand, challenged by Attack All Around. Hans still winning out the fight with the help of Jonah. Even gets the boost to check out his surroundings. I Lee might have seen Kororo and attack all around once more, not able to get a siege done.
Heavy with Cubby out of the equation. Needs to devise a good plan here to find the next circle without getting into skirmish once again. Already down on those numbers, but as I speak of it, Cubby gets revived. Find the circle for himself as the rest of his team members wait out the rotation timing here. Dewa United, a little bit split apart, and the skirmish between the two Indonesian teams, Dewa as well as RRQ, might just break out here depending on which of these zip lines Dewa decides to take.
Oh yeah. Let's see Homebois, top of Mammoth. Stalwart is monitoring all these movements. You can see the UAV sent out. Homebois might not really have much of a choice to get away from this. 10 eliminations so far, one of the best runs they've had, at least today. But the road ahead is only gonna get tougher. They will try to force Stalwart back with the glue wall melter and a couple of grenades, but eventually they'll have to fight.
Oh, beautiful Riptide rhythm. Butterfly. No more defenses. The whole squad of Homeboys forced to retreat. All thanks to that pop of the Riptide rhythm. And now Stalwart with the portal go. Just switching on to the right-hand side flank. All three players moving on. And it looks like they had that double Riptide rhythm. All thanks to the active skill card. Forcing Homeboys to once again find the reposition. Stop a tad bit slow on that left-hand side flank. And reverse red dropping by on the lower ground as well. Homeboys have nowhere to run. Buriram meets them on the opposite side. Out of the pen, into the fire. This should be the end for the Malaysian squad.
Yeah, surrounded by the three Thai gods. How are you going to get out of this situation? Homeboys, it's time to pick a fight. Either you pick a fight or you try to find a way out. But with reverse red coming in so close and Homeboys conspiracy being right in the center, it's only a matter of time before the Thai team start picking up the pace. BRU, in fact, they're starting to fire at Stalwart because Stalwart is the first team to show their hits. First, fires, he's trapped at the corner, gets chunked down by the nade, able to retreat back into the tent. As Reverse Red and Stalwart, they are the first one to get onto high ground, whereas for BRU, they're not looking to fully commit just yet. It's all about taking the right opportunity to get as much points as possible.
Get high cooking up that nade. Who does he send it off to? Diamond possibly going to eat this one up whole. Diamond backs away. M1887 in his hands. Reverse Red spots out Stalwart. Diamond gives the call to the rest of his team members. Backs away from the engagement as well. Now Reverse Red are stuck. They can't back away. Stalwart will catch them off. They can't push on forward as well. Two teams wait for them at the very edge of Mammoth. This is a four-way fight. And everybody's trying to find a reposition except for Buriram. They're just sticking to their spot and wondering exactly who's going to show up.
In fact, they are so comfortable, right? Look at that. Both Reverse Red and Stalwart have slowly backed off, which means for BRU, they can start taking control of that high ground. They just got to get rid of Homeboys. Wasana, he starts it off by eliminating Alif. On the other hand, Stalwart and Reverse Red going at it. Homeboys conspiracies, there are no more. Dewa United now shows up at Mammoth to take on the challenge and instantly regrets it.
Oh my.
As Stalwart, on the other hand, they're having their own fight with the Thai counterparts. But BRU, they just overwhelmed Dewa as fast as they showed up. And they also realized just as fast that this is never going to be a fair fight. Wasana gladly drops onto the low ground. BRU, they don't mind not having the high ground. They just want the points. And Dewa United, just one crucial mistake in rotation cost them to get it wiped out.
But is this going to cost Buriram now letting go of that high ground advantage? Now they use the lower ground of Mammoth to find a little bit of a rotation. And this puts them in a brilliant advantageous spot because now all of the action is focused on the opposite side of Mammoth. It's going to be Reverse Red going up against RRQ. RRQ already down by 2 members. Attack all around, chipping in as well, trying to take a elimination point for themselves as Saming finds Legolas. RRQ, although those pickups are possible, they can't retaliate just yet.
Look at that. I mean, RRQ on the other hand, it's going to be gone on by attack all around. From behind them, also pincered by Reverse Red. This is a 3-way fight. Wow, a 4-way fight. Now that Stalwart is a part of this. Kororo is somehow fighting goods in the midst of that chaos. In fact, attack all around. They're going to push on forward. Abe not really paying attention. Now caught also surprise. Kororo with the fadeaway as Abe is not being able to respond. And RQ Kazu numbers are dwindling. Wasana just doing quick work
Oh, yeah.
WAG, 12 points for BRU.
Yeah, once again, Buriram could have just shut their mouths and stayed on the opposite side of all of this battle, but they are looking for elimination points. They rotate straight into the action. WAG was looking to be the vulture, but they get vultured upon as Buriram takes that perfect backstab, eliminating them from this run. Now, reverse red right in front. Buriram chooses to not engage, but instead look for the safe zone. Heavy have already found a safe spot in there, but how safe is this going to be? Because Buriram knocking on that very edge of this next circle. Heavy pulling away. Heavy's going to be in a lot of trouble when Stalwart tries to rotate in.
Let's see attack all around. He's gonna come around the corner. Jump guard. Not able to find that knock. Moongao will help him though. Get Bunjim down, but Diamond's still there. And Diamond finding 2 in a row. Attack all around. Getting eliminated.
Buriram now taking control of this final circle. Heavy looking at the fact that they have a 4-man squad rushing towards them, push outside of the circle, looking for some scraps before they get taken out potentially. Hans down on the ground. Could not take advantage against Ma'al. RRQ get taken out, and it is Wasana that steals away the final spot, the final shot onto the player from the side of Heavy. 14 eliminations strong as they continue to look for the other players.
Literal king of the hills. We asked the question, are they going to do fine without the high ground while they're doing just fine? Diamond though, catching Moshi off guard could be what is needed to break the streak. Diamond now challenged, but Exposy with a good coverage to get rid of Funa. Wasana, on the other hand, was able to find Saming, but still BRU, they are down in numbers. It's between Reverse Red and BRU. The good news for Reverse Red, they're able to bring the members back up. Now 2v4, get high, and Wasana, they got to start playing together.
Yeah, double ice grenade pushed there to force Exposy out of his defensive position, but still quite a lot of space to play around with here. Vitan thought he was going to escape all of this action, but he falls. And now this is that opening. Reverse Red, they storm in for the fight. Wasana tagged up outside the tent, and he gets slain. Get high, taken down. Reverse Red, they should be able to secure a booyah for themselves. Wasana between them and that booyah. One quick hop on up. And that's it, all done. No 6 booyahs for Buriram as Reverse Red still show that they are in the race.
That is just clinical from Reverse Red. One crucial shot giving BRU the treatment that they received in the previous game, where one headshot, one pickoff was all it took to secure the booyah. I mean, Reverse Red, they knew what that felt like thanks to Wasana, and this time they did it to Moshi. So what they were not able to achieve in game 3, wrestle it back in game 4. Very well deserved.
At this point, the host in Thailand is going to be asking for a bonus because we keep sending the cameras right back to them for their interview segment. All 4 booyahs of the day have come from a Thai team. 3 for Buriram. Now Reverse Red sneaking into the list as well. It hasn't been a great day for them. Up to the end of the 3rd game, they only had a total of 34 points. So this should be quite the solid boost for them to push their numbers for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even for Reverse Red, they can give up on the race to overtake BRU, but the race to remain in top 3 is always going to be a relevant conversation. And overall, for Reverse Red, they are now in 2nd place, right, overtaking Team Falcons. They're going to be exhausting all of their playtime this week by the end of today, but still, if you can get that gap big enough, it will put you in a very comfortable spot.
I truly do agree with you. They, at the moment, have 4 games in advantage against Team Falcons with a 15-point lead. So that's going to be brought down to nothing because we know Falcons, when they really put their minds to it, they can get those booyahs, they can get those solid elimination points on their side as well. And that's exactly what Homebois was showing us in this game as well. I believe they managed to clock in a total of 10 eliminations before getting dropped out.
Yeah, I think for Homebois, what was the other round that they had this performance? It was round 2, right? Where they also got high levels of elimination before they got eliminated. But I mean, this game is so much harder. The fact they got pincered by 3 Thai teams and somehow still survived longer than expected before eventually going down to BRU, very admirable. But we also saw the problems that we kind of pointed out about Homebois. They just know they are not as good as the opponents that they're going up against, and it reflects in how they play the game. They're not willing to actively take fights. The moment they start losing numbers, they just want to play it safe, but they can only get you so far.
Yeah, a little too early in terms of the engagement preference for Homebois, which has caused them to only walk away with a total of 6 placement points out of 4 games played. So they're barely getting into Circle 4, Circle 5 in a solid fashion. Other teams, on the other hand, have been pretty efficient in getting themselves towards those final battles. And usually it is pretty chaotic once we get in towards that 4th or 5th circle.
And honestly, even though BRU will not be able to complete the dream of all Booyahs today, the one thing that has remained consistent is the fact that Thailand is still on top, right? 3 for BRU, the 4th one going over to reverse red. It seems like they are just not giving any other regions any sort of break.
And of course, once again, we have to send the camera back to the Thai host because they're going to be conducting the interview with yet another Thai team who's walked away with the Booyah.
Welcome back to interview session. Now I'm with
บุญเจมส์
Bun James from Reverse Red. Yeah, congratulations for the first Booyah today. Okay, let the first question. How do you feel you still force Booyah from Buriram United Esports?
รู้สึกไงบ้างคะที่ไปแย่งบูย่าที่ 4 จากบุรีรัมย์
ก็คนไทยเหมือนกันครับแบ่งๆกันหน่อยก็ได้ครับ
We both are from Thai team so just share please
Who is the key player for this game?
ใครเป็น
ผมแปลว่า
โอเค
คือผมครับเพราะว่าผมลงมาก็บูย่าเลยครับ
Okay, so he said that he is the key player of the game because he just come into this game and get booyah.
How many points do you think you can get today?
คิดว่าวันนี้จะได้กี่แต้มคะ
100 คะแนนครับ
100
2 game?
yeah
Yeah, 100.
yeah
Okay. Any message from to your fan?
มีอะไรฝากถึงแฟนๆไหมคะ
ฝากเชียร์พวกเราทีม Reverse Red ด้วยนะครับ
Please support at Reverse Red
Okay, thank you. Ready for the next game?
ready
Yeah, he's ready. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
You heard the man, 100 points. How close are we to that, AJ?
37 points. Not impossible, bro.
Oh, they need 37 more.
Yeah, from 2
Oh,
games.
I was like, wow, they only have 37?
No.
Who am I?
They have
Who am I
63.
kidding, right? It's reverse red.
Yeah.
Very possible, very possible. They've got 2 more games to go. 100 points is not a dream.
Yeah, not a dream at all. And of course, Reverse Red, like you said, they will be exhausting all of their week's play by the end of today. That will allow Falcons to catch up with them tomorrow. So the final 2 games, they really have to turn their engines on full blast. And I think Diamonds got that done, man. 10 eliminations for the man. 9 knockdowns in total. The conversion rate here is insane. 11 headshots all in total with 5,022 total damage.
I'm very, very happy to see kind of Diamond show up big time because back at Sao Paulo, back at Snapdragon, the Mobile Masters, it was Nameless who is just tearing up a storm. No one could even come close to him, and it really felt like Diamond got sidelined despite him having a consistent performance. But here we see the real Diamond that was forged in the flames, just completely annihilating the opposition despite not having the Tatsuya as a rusher. That is something that we are taking time to get used to prior to the nerf.
The Bun James, he calls himself the MVP. Man walks away with 0 eliminations, but it's not just about that. Look at the assists. Look at the stack of how much of those important shots he was getting in there to enable the eliminations for players like Diamond as well as Exposi. Saming walking away with a total of 2 as well. It was a well-worth game for Reverse Red, and if this is going to be the spot where they make this massive comeback against Buriram and perhaps sneak away the final 2 Booyahs, I think we've got a solid fight between these two for that #1 spot. It might just be possible for Reverse Red to catch Buriram by the end of the knockout stage.
100%. Look at Diamond, 10 eliminations this game. How are you ever going to come close to him? The closest one is Butterfly, again from Homebois. Conspiracy with 6. Everyone else, Wasana, Exposi, and Get High, to get 5 apiece. I think this rivalry between Reverse Red and BRU definitely ignited, definitely reached a fever pitch in Sao Paulo, where Reverse Red really brought out the big guns, and this game itself, it was Boon James, first game of the day, right? They were like, nameless. I think you take a back seat. Let's see how Boon James does it. Comes in with 10 assists, which is super, super impressive.
Yeah, Diamond's getting those eliminations, but he's also laying out all of those defenses. His glue maker must be absolutely maxed out. 23 total glue walls used out there to defend himself as well as the rest of his team members. Cypher walking away with the 10 glue walls destroyed. The numbers are stacked here in terms of the highlight players. But Alif just being forced to work overtime with those revives. And sorry, he was forcing his team members to work on those revives. This guy kept, unfortunately, getting taken down.
Yeah, Homebois were on a revival spree, and I guess they didn't do that bad. We talked about the Woodpecker for, as one of the focal points of today, and guess what? Woodpecker, 16 eliminations, back to first place for the first time in a long time.
It is a opportunity for the Woodpecker to shine as the best gun out there, and it looks like the players are making good use of it, right? But what better map to have this gun shine other than Kalahari? The distance that you can put between yourself as well as the other players now, especially with the hook gun being available in the vending machine for purchase for a mere 200 coins, it means everybody can make good use of those bird's eye spot available on Kalahari. Talking about the bird's eye view that some of these teams get this time from this match, it is reverse red that sits at the very top with the Booyah plus the eliminations, a total of 29 points they pick up.
Even for BRU, they're not too far behind, right? The only difference is that they didn't get enough eliminations because they lost the reverse red and the Booyah. So 24 points for them. Everyone else kind of in the mid-table. It's Heavy 13, even Homebois cashing in on 12, or Kyukazu with 12 overall. Decent rounds for majority of these teams, and Homebois, they're getting closer and closer to Todak. As long as they don't, get wiped out by Todak in the next round, then perhaps we'll see a closer fight. BRU though, wow, they've made 800.
They have made 800.
They have made, that is crazy. More than 100 points in 4 rounds.
Yeah, 103 to be specific. 3 Booyahs on top of that. They have 12 in total for the whole of the knockout stages. No doubt they are the most menacing squad out there, but they are not done just yet. They promised us 6 Booyahs. They might be a tad bit annoyed that they could not live up to that promise, and they may just retaliate in the final 2 games.
Yeah, I want to quickly point this out, right? So the next closest team that only played 40 games like BRU is Attack All Around in 7th place.
Yeah.
But they are almost 300 points behind. How crazy is that?
It's Buriram stuff, man. But we do have to take a quick short break. When we come back, the final 2 games to see if Buriram can walk away with 5.
Supplier! How'd you like them apples? How'd you like them apples?
Welcome back, survivors, to the Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia League. It's week 4, day 2, and 2 final games to find out if any other teams has a chance to hold a candle to BRU and Reverse Red. It's me, Husky, alongside the Mustachio AJ to wrap up the rest of the evening.
It is a surprising performance from Homebois Conspiracy, I have to say, because I was looking at the stats just moments ago, and they're the 5th best team when it comes to picking up elimination points today. And this is a shocker because Homebois has not been able to compete with any of the teams out there thus far in the knockout stages. So the second half of the tournament seems to be treating them a little bit better. Now, the only fix they need to bring into this whole equation is finding that final circle, Husky. If they can fix their rotations, I think we might just be able to see a miracle run here for the top 12 out of Homebois.
I mean, hopefully, right? Because on the overall stats, they still obviously have the least eliminations and the least placement points.
Yeah.
Enough said. Second closest team is actually Todak, and they are 32 points behind Todak in terms of elimination.
Yeah.
Long way to catch up. But if statistics are telling us a story, perhaps that's what Homebois Conspiracy needs to lean into.
I will most definitely agree with you on that one, man. And if they can lean into that, perhaps just play a little bit more on this momentum, maybe a mad dash that seems absolutely impossible could still happen. Albeit they are down in the 18th spot, 143 points away from the 12th position as of now, which means not only do they have to get the 143, they need to make sure they get 143 more than any of the other teams who are currently qualified for the 12th spot, right? So that seems to be quite a bit to ask for. But out of 3 weeks of games, maybe it is possible, right? Like that's a potential run for a team that fixes their play, because technically they're going up against teams that have their own fair share of problems. You're talking about Todak, you're talking about Flash, you're talking about God of Wolf. It shows up sometimes, and then the other times they are down and out.
Even for Onyx Olympus, they haven't really had the best run to date. Heavy has officially overtaken them on the leaderboard for now by 4 points. And WAG, the next on the menu, right? They're just 1 point ahead of Heavy. And then you look ahead, RQ Kazu, they are also not too safe, considering the fact that RQ Kazu are going to exhaust the rest of the games by today. And Heavy, they can still chill. Well, WAG can still chill until tomorrow. So
correct.
Heavy, they're going to make the most out of this.
Yeah, and Onyx Olympus obviously will be in a position to make a little bit of a comeback because they are in Group C. They will have, actually no, they will be taking a break. So in terms of what they can do, is just buckle down here and try to pick up as many points as possible. 6 games tomorrow, they can't just purely depend on that. If they can overtake Heavy today, it might just end the week for them on a higher note, right? Heavy, on the other hand, will have to try to make sure the exact opposite happens for themselves.
And I think, for the rest of the squad in the mid pack is, just to see how much points you can get moving forward.
Yeah.
Nextera, this is gonna be a map where is Bermuda still on top? Last I remember, it's
still on top.
Yes, right, still there, right. I was holding a bit of hope.
Yeah, as far as groups C and B is concerned here, Buriram leading Nextera with a total of 141 points picked up here thus far. But just a single booyah though. If you compare these two groups, the booyahs are pretty well distributed. No team has picked up 2 booyahs off of this. And if you take into account the teams from Group A as well, obviously Falcon will be your most dominant one, but they're not going to be playing in here. Even Indostars is not going to be playing in here today. So we're mainly going to be focusing on Buriram, Stalwart, as well as Reverse Red. Once again, the 3 Thai teams.
Yeah, and of course, if BRU has the performance that they have had already on this map, they are gonna eventually overtake Falcon on that top 3 list, and that means that by the end of today, we might just see BRU being the top 1 team on every single map.
It's just crazy, right? The fact that Buriram is able to do, such insane stunts like this, they are able to pull it off as if they are not even breaking a sweat out there on the battlefield. They're joking around as they get to that final point. you know, you really have to wonder exactly how much of training goes on behind the scenes for them to perform as if it's barely an effort for them out there.
Yeah, and some people might think, right, maybe newer fans of BRU would think that, oh, because they are winning every single game. No, they have had bad days. They have had days that it really felt like they were not playing the game to the level that we expected them, and yet they are still that far ahead. Can you imagine if BRU uses 100% of the capacity? We might not even need to have this conversation. We could just send them to the World Championship, right? You know, give their slot to some other teams to actually compete in a fair fight.
Let's see if or not it's going to be a fair fight here for some of the teams who are going to be trying to move towards Turbine and Museum. The travel is going to be a little bit challenged due to the fight path skewed towards the right-hand side, cutting from Decker Square all the way down towards Twin Bridge, forcing teams like WAG and Attack All Around to drop into a very early uncomfortable skirmish. Buriram, on the other hand, going to be dropping onto the fringes here of Farmtopia with a potential third-party situation set up for themselves.
No, yeah, that's even for WAG. Wow, right off the bat, finding Attack All Around, but actually getting 2 in the process. So not looking too good for Attack All Around. Allen is coming online. Pungod being just toying around, running around in circles. Does have the help, so able to go for the swing onto Cyrus. But in the meantime, WAG still has the advantage in terms of manpower as they've gotten rid of 2 of Attack All Around's members.
2-for-1 trade. Virus on the side of Deva United, on the other hand, is not really stacked in cash, so the revives are going to be a little difficult here. Deva with the opportunity to earn off of the Todak players as Mr. 05 gets dropped. The trade does come through as then is caught. Sam 13 from the back, Frogon straight to the head, and it is an opportunity to recover here, but Heavy's going to be knocking on the doors as well, disturbing Deva and their momentum.
Deva has 3 already, and yeah, I don't think Kabi can fight this, right? He doesn't even have a shred of health to work with. One straight bullet would do the job, but Sam 13 could not find it. And Hans, he's going to come out with full health bait and switch. Very well orchestrated by Heavy.
Smart play. One player going in here for the medkit usage. The other one full on that HP. Burst out to get that engagement for himself. Even if that did not go his way, the player who was on the medic could obviously hop back into that equation. Homebois, on the other hand, picking up their very first point here, trying their best to continue their amazing performance. I mean, for Homebois and their usual track record, this is amazing for them to pick up a total of 26 eliminations. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still a lot in comparison to some of their days. If they can continue this, it's going to be big for the squad.
Yeah, by Homeboy standards, it's actually very impressive, right? Something switched on. At least in the early game, they're putting up results, right? Because we know late game, they would definitely suffer when you look at the power level. But early game, they're making decent adjustments. They're finding pickoffs, which is, you know, a good start. They were United not taking any chances. In fact, they were United has been on a very, very slow crawl today. Just making sure that they, you know, get the placement points instead of prioritizing eliminations.
They was just going for those guaranteed points, but I don't know if they're a team that can stay away from taking some of these more riskier maneuvers, right? Because they are 64 points behind Onyx Olympus. That currently puts them in the 14th spot. So there's a lot of effort needed from Dewa if they do want to make it into the top 12. 3 revives already at this point of time. Many of their players are on a hard reset, especially with the loot outside here at Mortar Ruins.
Oh, yeah. See, though, wow, that shot from long range. It's actually Ma'au that finds it onto Jonah. It's instantly revived. It's just a scout from Heavy. But for RQ Kazu, also, they're not exactly in the safest spot, right? Like, a couple more poor rounds for them and a couple more good rounds from teams like Heavy and WAG. And you might see RQ Kazu teetering on that edge of falling out of top 12. So they also need to start kind of buckling up, getting those points into them. They have some of the youngest and brightest players on the team, but sometimes you do look at them and feel like, man, this team is not playing as a unit. Yeah,
RRQ Kazu has been off form today. A total of 26 points from 4 games played. Just 12 eliminations, just not the usual RRQ that you see out there, getting those aggressive engagements, right? And they are going to suffer in the overall grand scheme of things. Their performance on the overall leaderboard will drop as Heavy finds Mr. 17. Dewa United still tortured out there. Sam 13 just trying to stay out of this engagement. As Todak's player Raja gets caught, and Virus is just going for this one elimination point, potentially that could be his before his team gets taken out of the equation. Raja with the Mac 10. CQC is going to be an advantage for him. Homered up. Virus now slowed down a little bit as well. Raja doesn't seem to take advantage.
Wow!
Finally, with the headshot, buys and serves up well.
That is crazy. Raja did the parkour move, right? Just completely blindsiding his assailant. And just like that, I mean, Heavy in the meantime are the elim leaders. But if you want to put the stats into perspective, Homebois had more eliminations. The Homebois eliminations is same as the amount of points that RQ Kazu got to date, right? Which is a comparison that I never thought that I would make in this league. But here we are. Onyx on the other hand, Duke caught sleeping at the wheel. And Joe finds an easy point.
And Onyx Olympus, the team that got pushed out of the top 12, now wants to find their way back in here. They go up against Heavy, and this is going to be 1 out of 2 opportunities, and they are doing it against Stalwart. Amazing stuff out of Onyx.
Yeah, very, very well done. And again, this team hasn't been doing the best today. Just got overtaken by the Heavy, so obviously you don't feel that good about it. It's time to cash back up, especially when Heavy themselves are also performing, right? That makes it even more challenging for them.
Saming, the player on the side of Reverse Red, getting into a little bit of a tussle here. Homebois in the vicinity as well to make the survival of RRQ slightly higher as they distract the rest of the players from the side of Reverse Red. Buriram escaping from the circle could make a difference here, but knowing these Daredevils, they're going to run out of the circle looking for points, and WAG might just be a little bit of a sitting duck as they try to find a defensive spot within the next safe zone.
I like it. Homebois, they are at Intellect Center, so far enough to the northern side. Not in a rush. I think you can't really blame them, right? Just play slow. Stalwart, on the other hand, wow, wiped out by Deva. Of all teams, not looking too good for Stalwart today, considering that they had a pretty explosive start to the first half of the league. It's been a recurring issue though. Stalwart, I feel like this is something that is kind of the inconsistency that has been pretty obvious, but you don't like notice it too often thanks to their overall scores on the leaderboard. But it's starting to become an issue. It's starting to really rear its ugly head.
5 games in, if Homebois Conspiracy have more eliminations than you, then something's wrong with you, Stalwart. Unfortunately for them, they're currently sitting on, I think, about 20 eliminations overall. And even before starting off this game, Homebois were already doing better than them. So perhaps a little bit of a slower day, but like you pointed out, doesn't really affect them in the grand scheme of things because Esports Divine, who are behind them, are behind by 60 points. That being said, though, Stalwart is quickly running out of options in terms of the total number of games played.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. So dirty. By the way, BRU knew the entire time that Abe was trying to go for a shot. You can see Wasana was jump spotting the entire time. They knew. They saw Abe and they kept doing the same thing. They brought in the whole squad to the goal portal. Abe misses his first shot. They immediately go on top of the roof behind him, and Wasana took the shot. How crazy is that? The spatial awareness, the overall situational awareness from BRU is unmatched. And now RQ Kazu, just off of that, is going to lose the rest of the team to BRU. They did revive Abe beforehand, but it's still 4 points fed to BRU's belly at the cost of nothing.
And RRQ, as usual, just facing a little bit of a speed bump here against the bigger teams. They haven't really been able to find their momentum today, and that just continues to be the case for them, just like Stalwart. But Buriram is just heating up. They are looking for a total of 5 booyahs, in 6 is just not possible. Stayaway United makes a smart reposition, but still being tagged up by the circle, taking advantage of the fact that it's just circle number 2.
Jonah actually got sniped by Dewa. V-Time is in a really rough spot. I mean, Heavy are not in fighting condition, unfortunately. If Dewa knows this, they're going to go for a rush. In fact, Mr. 17 is going to start checking. Just see so many glue walls that has the Heavy logo on it. So they know that something is up. But it seems like they're also distracted, right? I think Krillin is in the other building. This could give time for that Heavy member to retreat, as Dewa United are preoccupied by hunting down this WAG guy.
revives or not, they are getting those elimination points picked up there. So Dewa, none can complain about their run thus far. Let's see if they can continue this sort of a performance in towards that final circle as well.
They are having a way better game so far. Heavy getting the revives, which is good. Homebois Syndicate, well, Homebois Conspiracy, finally starting to make a move, but I think they are getting shot at by BRU. Another portal goal use, go on top of the roof just to gain a bit of a vantage point. But this is that mid to late game transition. It has always been a struggle for Homebois. Let's see how they navigate through this. The closest team is to the south, and that's going to be RQ Kazu, but they also spotted Heavy from the north. This could be a three-way fight.
Yeah, and the problem is they now have a portal go there for Heavy to use to take advantage of their spot, and that puts them at a risk of a backstab. Therefore, Homebois take their own advantage. They know they are in the advantageous position because they saw Heavy drop on in. They've got that information, and they choose to go in here for the sweep. Jonah tagged up, Butterfly for the finish. M1887, the shotgun on the chase. Jonah finally dropped, and it is with the assist of Faiz from up top.
And meanwhile, off screen, reverse red, they're getting those knocks, the eliminations onto Onyx Olympus. BRU doing the same. Homebois Syndicate still able to keep the whole team alive. Very composed so far. Even spotting Cyrus on the run. Faiz attempting to claim that. But they also are aware that RQ Kazu is watching this happen. See if Homebois, they can at least get Cyrus. That's point number 3. And of course, with enough guns, they will be able to do just that. And RQ Kazu not interested in running at Homebois because they have the circle. But remember, Homebois have the high ground. This could give them a good overview of where they need to go later.
Much better in terms of performance as far as Homebois are concerned. And this is a consistency that I am pretty much quite surprised to even see. But up against RRQ, can they pull it off? Leglot the Dutch, both of them getting a piece each. Aleph with a beautiful turnaround here, managed to get picked up as well, but Abe High will get the dirty done. More players from the side of Homebois dropped once again. Opportunity to pick up Faiz, and he gets back up on his feet. Butterfly out of the equation. Homebois, regardless of anything, the barricade of glue walls, they play Nairi's Ice Iron, gives them a little bit of breathing space here. But RRQ just taking dominance at this spot, dropping those players. And as the players of Homebois get away from them, Buriram shows up as well.
Does not make it any easier when you have two teams and one of them is the best in the world hounding at you. Good attempt from Homebois Conspiracy, but this is as far as they go in this round, eliminated in 7th place, and RQ Kazu survives for another day. Dewa United, on the other hand, in their own fight, but Reverse Red just got wiped out. The biggest adversary for BRU no longer in this game.
They are looking for 100 points. Unfortunately for them, it looks like that might just be a little bit of a tough call now. The R1 gets a scan onto 5 players, and in the mix of all of this chaos stands Funa over 3 players of Dewa United, trying to snipe down Heavy's players as well. Virus got out. Funa's Woodpecker just can't get the job done, but he's getting those tags in, just teasing all of these players. And in the meantime, 3 other players from the side of Buriram not getting involved in all of these scuffles.
Oh yeah. Look at that, BRU's 13 eliminations and an easy flick by Funa. As Virus didn't expect that. They tried to help him, but it was too late. And Mr. Ofai ends up taking chip damage. It's not his intention. Funa still deciding to stay here. Felt like there was no need to move. The rest of BRU are repositioned already. Look at them, just gaining distance. If Dewa tries to go onto Funa, BRU, they have that they have the angle fully covered.
Funa has been trying to do this from the very start of the knockout stages. It was failing him initially, but he has just gotten so proficient at it, just running at opponents solo, being the only risk taker, the daredevil on the side of Buriram, and it's all paying off. And it looks like Wasana is soon going to be replaced on his dominance on the overall leaderboard when it comes to the eliminations. Onyx, surprisingly, still alive and kicking, but the circle putting the hurt on them. They have to stay alive against RRQ, who have that lower ground.
We just saw Wasana knocking down Mr. 17, and that's man number 4 for Deva gone. Sam 13 just trying to out-heal the blue BRU. They're not worried. Look at that. The entirety of the circle got taken by them, but of course Funa, he is not a patient man. Wasana follows him. He's like, buddy, let's just go in. Let's just end this as fast as possible. It's just RQ and Onyx Olympus. Who can stop us, right? Sam 13 makes it into the circle. Moshi playing from afar. Get high as the support. Scouting around the perimeter. They're not even worried. Wasana Okay, he's done having fun. He's gonna wait outside, let the blue do its job. And the rest of Honor Olympus and RQ Kazu is scrambling to catch breath.
Yeah, Portal go laid out and they back away, and this time focusing on the opposite side. Gateway United, Sam 13 thought he got out of all of the thick of the action, and now fantastic, beautiful glue walls all laid out around him. Circle's gonna be a little bit of a problem though, Sam 13. Here comes the blue. Wasada getting tagged up by it. Sam 13 holding on towards the edge, but Wasada still will be able to overwhelm him. The Trogon gets him elimination number 5.
And Wasana, he's just going to let the blue do the rest of the job. The rest of non-BRU players, look at them. Again, trapped with the blue coming in behind them. BRU, they're like, we're just going to tank the blue, right? We'll give ourselves a handicap, and we will still win. And of course, they do. Booyah number 4 claimed by BRU.
22 eliminations for a total of 34 points. The 4th booyah of the day. What are we even watching? How are these players so good at this game?
Just look at their expressions. It really didn't feel like they were winning, right? They're like, well, it's just another win. They're probably more expressive when they don't get the booyah. Complete opposite of what every other team would have displayed when winning. I mean, do you ever get tired of winning, AJ? I think BRU do.
Yeah, man, I don't know if I can get tired of winning. I don't win as much as these guys. These guys, they're so jaded with it. They know what's going to happen. I mean, they called out 6 booyahs. Didn't get 6. Almost got 6, though. I mean, they were just way too close on that previous matchup, right? And now on Nextera, they get it done once again. If it wasn't for Reverse Red earlier, and this time Reverse Red was nowhere near to being a threat in that final circle.
This is ice cold, ice in their veins. It's just another day in the office, right? Scrims, tournaments, they all feel the same for BRU.
You got to be very impressed with these guys. They are not really faced by money. I've seen many teams, take that big prize pool and then just give up on working hard to be at the top. Not Buriram. This has been the squad led by Jonah in the most fantastic way, and they have never lost their spirit. In fact, they just keep getting better and better and better.
Yeah, I think that, for BRU, it's just... I mean, they've reached a point where I don't think money is an issue, whether for the organization or for the players, right?
Oh, yeah.
These guys eating well, they're living well, but it's more of keeping that fire, right? Not many teams can win and have the will to keep winning. BRU is a legendary exception. It really felt like you can give them 10 trophies in a row and it will still not be enough for them. That's a definition of a team that is hungry to win and a team that is having fun doing what they do.
Yeah, I can't deny that statement, man. And clearly they are having fun to put in all of that effort. And it's not like the other teams have not improved. The quality overall in Southeast Asia has drastically improved. And even beyond all of that, they are still maintaining their stomp of dominance on all of the other teams. They are 6 games lesser than Reverse Red at this point of time, but 156 points ahead of them on the overall leaderboard. Insane stuff.
You have to be on a different level for not just SEA teams, but for teams all over the world. Latin team, right? Second strongest regions, to all respect you, no matter they like you or not. They always bring out BRU, whether in a good or bad way. That's how crazy it is. Well, we have to talk to BRU again. Let's send it to the Thai side to talk to them.
Welcome back to interview session. Now I'm with Get High from Buriram United Esports. Again, phobia on this day. Mochi said he want to get 5 booyah on this day. Last game, do you think you can get booyah?
โมชิบอกว่าเราจะได้5บูย่าวันนี้ตอนนี้เราได้4แล้วคิดว่าเกมสุดท้ายเราจะได้ไหมคะ
ได้ครับ
yes
Oh, okay. It's a shot. Yeah. In last game, tactical or skill play make you win this game?
วงสุดท้ายเมื่อกี้ค่ะคิดว่าเป็นเพราะสกิลเพลย์หรือว่าเป็นเพราะเทคนิคการเล่นของทีมเราที่ทำให้เราชนะ
น่าจะทั้งหมดเลยครับ
all of them
Yeah. Who is the 3 sniper in this tournament is the best sniper in this tournament
คิดว่าสไนเปอร์3คนที่เล่นดีที่สุดคือใครบ้างคะ
แล้วก็วันมอดิวแล้วก็โมชิครับ
Okay
all Thai player
all Thai player last question 150 point can you get in this day
คิดว่าวันนี้จะได้150แต้มไหมคะ
ได้แน่นอนครับ
Okay
definitely yes
yeah any message for your fan
มีอะไรฝากถึงแฟนๆไหมคะ
ก็ฝากเชียร์นะครับวันนี้ทำให้เต็มที่ครับเต็มทางนะครับ
We support us we'll do our best it is the last game
yeah no more question for your team thank you for interview back to you Shawcaster
Asking
No, no,
Buriram whether they're going to reach 150 is like asking, will the sun rise tomorrow morning? Yes.
I feel like
it
we
will.
have we've ran out of things to ask them. Like what to ask. I know. I think with any other teams, you can ask generic questions, right? The
Yeah.
questions that everyone wants to know. Can you win? How many? What's your target? But for BRU, here's a suggestion. Ask about their retirement plans. What are they gonna do once they stop playing? Are they gonna
Yeah.
tour the world, start a family? You know, run a business. Like that's what I want to know about these men, because they could clearly retire and yet they're still playing. And of course, the MVP for BRU's fourth Booyah is Moshi. Everyone gets a shot to be on that list.
Yeah, back-to-back MVP for this guy out of Buriram on their Booyah games. 7 eliminations through 7 knockdowns, 3 headshots in total for a massive damage of 3,521. Walking in with the Iris, giving the team extra information with the Arvon scans as well. He was a menace out there for sure, but it was not going to be possible without the 4-man stack on that Andrew, without the 4-man stack on the Nairi as well. This is just to beef up their defenses and to give them that extra HP every time they get shot behind those blue walls, especially when they get into those final heated battles within the final circle. This has to be the meta right now that is the main cause for the aggression out of Buriram.
Yeah, even when the 4 JBs were a thing, BRU were actively, flaunting that, right, last year.
Yeah.
Now 4 Nairi, it's kind of just a different archetype. Everyone in the damage distribution is the same, 2.6k minimum with I think Moshi getting the most, and of course most eliminations as well. 7 for him, 6 for Get High, 6 for Wasana. 3 out of 4 BRU members on that Elim Leader Hall of Fame, and of course Gary from Onyx Olympus with 4, Kabi with Heavy with 4 as well.
Here's the fun fact, right? Buriram has picked up 80 points through elimination. Just their eliminations alone is more than the second place team in terms of best performance from the day, Reverse Red. Reverse Red has a total of 70, not eliminations, but 70 points in total. Just eliminations alone, Buriram is doing better. You add on an extra 57 points from the placement points. Obviously, they're dominating at the top of the leaderboard. Wasana sneaking into the key players list as well, with the 27 glue walls chugged out there to provide the defenses for his squad.
And that's how you properly send a message, right? It's like people are doing their best, get eliminations, get placement points, booyahs to rack up the score, and then there's just BRU. We win you just by taking you out. What you gonna do about it, right? We haven't even started counting our placement points, which is 4 out of 5 booyahs. I mean, we could go on this for until the end of the show, and there's no end to it if it's BRU's greatness. Top 3 weapons as well, still the Trogon and Woodpecker on the list, but this time we introduce the AWM in third place.
Yeah, makes it into the list, a rare gun to pick up on the battlefield, but if you are able to get it, if you are a sharpshooter on the snipers list, and we have seen players like Moshi, right, love walking in with the AWM, swapping it out with the Woodpecker as well. 1 for that penetration through all of the armor. The AWM just serves up pure damage from all of the connected shots. It just makes teams like Buriram, it makes snipers like Moshi so dangerous out there on the battlefield. And at 34, once again, massive points for Buriram out of this game. 20 points more than Onyx, who are in the 4th spot.
I don't know. I'm really speechless, but looking at what has happened today so far, can we just have BRU chill for the last round? I want to watch a proper competitive round of Free Fire. I know Reverse Red did give us that in round number 3, but round of 4, excuse me, but this round, unfortunate for them. I mean, BRU 836 points. You look at again the second closest team to them in terms of games played. It's an attack all around, and if you are attack all around right now, like what do? You are more than 300 points behind BRU, and you guys are playing the exact same number of games.
Yeah.
Like if this is not a telltale sign of how far ahead BRU are ahead of everyone else, I don't know what is.
And fun fact, right? Buriram is about to break their own record as well. The most number of points they have picked up in a day of play from the knockout stages thus far is 142 points. Their second best record is 141 points. They are sitting on 137 now. They are barely 5 points away from breaking that record. And looking at their current performance, yeah, they're going to obliterate their existing record.
They will. Unless they wipe themselves out in this last game. They are breaking records, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, they don't get 6 booyahs a day, but they're still breaking their all-time high, which is crazy. And that record was set before we even had a 6-week league format, right? Back then, league was so short, and they set a record like that out of this world. And we get Kalahari for the well, okay, fine. Sure. All right, it had to be Kalahari, right? It had to be Kalahari.
Production's like, no way in hell we letting you walk away with 5 of our booyahs today. Let's just make it a tad bit difficult for Buriram. You know, we were talking about this, like how, you know, the devs are probably just watching Buriram and trying to make their lives difficult in terms of meta changes, you know, update after update, because they are the ones who set the trend, right? Everybody's looking at them. The moment Buriram uses a certain lineup of active passive skills, everybody's abusing it out there. But you know, they could not walk away with the Kalahari Booyah. That ruined their record, that ruined their promise, and the team to do that is currently sitting in the second place for the overall performance on this map.
Look at that, 216 points. We slightly touched on this, that by the end of the Kalahari round just now, they're gonna definitely break the 200 mark, or point mark on Kalahari. Now they get to do it even more.
I mean, dude,
I don't know.
They didn't walk away with the Booyah, but they're still the most dominant team on this map, right? So there's a possibility that they pick up the 5th Booyah of the day, as well as the 5th Booyah at Kalahari with this final game. That's Buriram.
Yeah, I think the most booyahs a team has ever gotten in a day, whether it's 6 games or 8 games per day, when we bringing SPS into the equation, was 3 at max. And BRU has already broken that record, all-time record, 4 in a day. If they get 5, I don't care if no team ever gets the whole the booyah for the entire day. BRU has already set history, right? Like 5 out of 6 booyahs. Who would have imagined? I could barely imagine getting 2 in a day, and they have gotten 5.
I so resonated that, man. Reverse Red are currently sitting in an overall 70 points picked up today. Buriram, on the other hand, are almost double of that, 137. Just 3 points shy of a perfect double of what Reverse Red has picked up.
Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable.
These guys are crazy, bro.
It is crazy.
Todak, as well as Homebois again asking.
Last I remember, it was Homebois who won, right? Homebois beat Todak 4-0 without losing a single member. Let's see if that's going to be the case. I think at this point, it's fair enough. It's fair for us to just accept the fact that these two teams are going to be in this cycle for probably until the end of the league. I feel like for them, they're not. It's not that they're hesitant to make changes. They just don't see the need for it. Speaking of which, Butterfly, which is so far the best performing member for Homebois today, has almost got knocked out, but he doesn't have any med kits. So this is not a good start for Homebois.
Well, Buriram losing a player very early on perhaps might show that they might just be cursed out of the 5th Booyah of the day, but they'll have to catch up with them in a little bit. Homebois does secure that revive onto Luffy and Todak. They all gather around each other as they try to reset themselves as well. There's a vending machine to fight for here, and Heavy just keeping an eye on this situation, but he can't do much because backup is just not there yet. Esports within the vicinity as well to really torture Heavy if they do get involved early.
And wow, Heavy, I think they were able to get 1 point as well. Well, the team that got the worst end of the stick is actually Todak, who has lost almost the entire team, getting ran at by attack all around. Kororo finding that knock. Todak, they are all crippled. Zen just got revived, trapped, and Wings hiding on the second floor, and immediately the floodgates open. It's going to be attack all around, just swarming the compound. Todak still in this game, but completely, seriously wounded, crippled, attack all around. Not just finding Todak, and even finding, well, Heavy Kabi also goes down. So this is attack all around on an absolute tear in terms of just finding those eliminations and getting those points. Very much needed points to let them catch up, or at least get closer to to Industars and Evo's Divine.
And it looks like Homebois are at the losing end of this battle. Attack all around already ramped up here, warmed up with the 5 eliminations in hand. But it is Poon God to first drop, and Jump God, unfortunately, wrong timing with the jump on in, and the double vector in the hands of Aleph, the one to take him down and out of the equation. Kororo with a good secure back in here. Homebois, they don't have any more options in. Jonah, who was keeping an eye on the situation, still could not react to any of those engagements as backup still has not arrived.
And just that his back was actually exposed. And Don't Cry is going to find a freebie, but Legolas instantly gets the revive. Poon God, what a nade onto Jonah off screen. Multiple skirmishes breaking out across the map. But thankfully for Onyx Olympus, they find command posts. And surprisingly, this area, usually on Kalahari, is highly contested, but in today it is untouched, right? Like teams that got to command post, I think Onyx Olympus is the sole owner of that area. They were never really challenged. BRU though finds the straggler and cash in on their first point.
I really like that we have gotten an upgrade for the UI here for the observer, so we are able to see the purchase of the portal go. Unfortunately, we still don't get any information on the active skill cards that these players pick up, because it could just be a game changer. Sometimes you get the double pop of that A124, which could, mean the difference between life and death for some of these players. As Todak's Raja just walks on into Stalwart's location just to get wiped out.
Yeah, it's Stalwart, as far as I remember, today has not been a good day for them, right? Reverse Red, they also had some rough rounds, but still not as poor as Stalwart. Or speaking about command post, PE Sports, they came in, do some scouting, and decided it's just not worth it. Completely backs off. I like that move from PE.
See if they can make something out of this. And you were talking about Stalwart. I have to agree with you, man. This is by far their worst performance in the knockout stages. They have never walked away in a day anything shy of 60 points. They still can recover though, sitting down at 46 right now. You just have to make sure they don't get wiped out a tad bit too early. As Homebois and Toda still finding each other outside its shrines this time around. And the hunt continues.
And Heavy just got wiped out. That is heartbreaking. They were just picking up steam, and to completely fall flat, completely deflate at the end of the day means that it might reset them back to square one, right? Because Onyx Olympus now have a chance. Even WAG will have an opportunity to send Heavy out of top 12 as quick as they got in. RQ Kazu, on the other hand, just picking off stragglers. That's the second point. I believe it was a Luffy from Homebois Conspiracy that went down.
In the grand scheme of things, this has been the best day of performance for Heavy in the knockout stages. So they can rest well. At least they do have quite a number of days to play before the knockout stage comes to an end. Reverse Red, on the other hand, will find a straggler on the outside regions. Easy takedown. Spots potentially yet another player as well on the side of Homebois. Dew, circling on around, has got the M82B in hand. Pulls out the glue wall, spots the player out already. Pulls out the Bison now. Up on top, has the advantage. Fires, barely able to do anything against him.
Look at that, Todak actually finds Legolas all around. I mean, the RQ Kazu we're getting today definitely is not the one that, we want. You could say, we say that, okay, Heavy, they might not be able to get more points for the rest of the day, but RQ Kazu, they're going to stagnate at where they currently are, which is 10th place. 10th place with what, 428? Still not that big off a lead over Heavy. And the only saving grace is that Heavy is no longer playing in this game, so RQ Kazu, they breathe a minor sigh of relief.
Yeah, but PE Sports, I believe, is still in the game, so they can't afford to get knocked out. In fact, they're just 1 point behind PE Sports, and all of that effort will go to waste because PE Sports, a team definitely capable of getting into that final circle, probably even sneaking away a booyah if you sleep on them. So RRQ, it's not been a great day for them, but one last one for the road before they go, I have to say.
If they can just get like a 20-point round, I think for RQ Kazu is good enough, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm asking for much. Even for PE Sports, they're just 1 point ahead of RQ Kazu. These two teams have been struggling today, to say the least. And you'd think that they could at least catch up to Expand, considering that Expand has not even played yet. And Expand, they're already miles ahead of PE Sports.
Oh, yeah.
Yet, it still feels so far.
And PE Sports just not doing themselves a lot of favors here by taking a slow day of play. This is going to bring it to the end of their total 48th game by the end of this map at Kalahari. And Expand gets the 6 for themselves to run away from them yet again. Todak got in a very tight spot here, and Stalwart trying to get the job done, but Zen from afar, the VSS does find the connection. Cypher's head cracked. Raja trying to find that follow-up as well, but Cypher is being protected by Stop. Here comes the engagement. Zen, Tatsuya burst inside the circle, puts Stop in an unfortunate position, but no takedown just yet. Raja's just running away. Krabs gets caught out instead. Raja now in a 1v2, and unfortunately for him, things just don't go his way.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. I mean, did the best he could, but in that situation, you just feel so overwhelmed. RQ Kazu even taking Refinery. I think they caught a glimpse of Reverse Red on the low ground, but Reverse Red, look at the rotation that they're making. I feel like they are looking for a point of entry. It's not easy when you want to siege Refinery, and I think they completely understand that. LBT even taking out Diamond, and LBT is not even on the map, right? So Reverse Red, when you're on that low ground, you have a lot more to worry about than just the team that is taking control of that area.
It is Dewa United holding on to their boots here as attack all around attacks their compound. And it looks like we are going to lose Mr. 05. This is too far away from the rest of his team members. Tatsuya could help him put a little bit of a distance here. Double burst used up already. Can purchase a skill card off of the Tatsuya, but not enough time for him. 05 down on the ground. Jump God, on the other hand, will walk away with one extra elimination. Dewa United scrambling to survive.
Just completely split up. This is a survival game. Homeboys, unfortunately, just continue to be hunted down, right? STE picking up crucial points. Toda also falling prey to RQ Kazu. How did Raja even end up there? Which is my question. Stalwart has 8 points already. Now finally done with the hunt for now. They're going to be focusing on getting into the circle. We have 11 teams left, and we are almost at that critical phase of this round. It's 10.5 minutes in.
Sometimes the decisions made by the teams here really make you scratch your head. We'll have to catch up with Toda eventually with their decision making and whether or not those decisions can start changing. Today has been a torturous day for Toda. 5 games in, 12 points in total. 10 from eliminations, 2 from placements.
PE Sports taking on Stalwart. This is going to be big for PE Sports if they can win this, and it certainly seems like they're winning.
Oh yeah.
That's 2 from Stalwart already gone. Stop. He knows that this fight is already done, and they still snipe him. Perfectly executed by PE Sports. Stalwart just not catching a break today.
This is exactly what we said about PE Sports earlier on. You sleep on them, they're going to be able to quickly leave you in the dust and find the circle for themselves. Stalwart did not expect such a ferocious approach by PE Sports. And unfortunately, they will allow them to catch up in terms of overall day's performance. But PE Sports, they're looking for bigger things. They are looking to catch up with Expand, who are a clean 34 points ahead of them with 6 games in hand to make nothing of that.
Yeah. So even if PE Sports somehow overtakes them in the parallel universe, it is still considered as falling behind Expand, right? You just want to close the gap as much as possible. And if it doesn't help you overtake expand, at least it keeps you away from the teams that are trying to overtake you in the lower standings. Dale United actually scanning out Luffy and the rest of BRU. But Luffy, I don't think he's going to be holding on for any longer. Attack all around. Already saw him, and BRU drawn to the gunfire. Luffy ends up getting taken out, and BRU now might have to move as well. And the team standing in between them and the circle is going to be attack all around.
BRU does have the bridge to play with. The portal go can lead them directly under that bridge for a little bit of cover, because directly across the river where Deva United is not much of a defensive spot. So Buriram really needs to think about how they're going to maneuver around to find themselves a compound for that final circle. So this is going to be a little bit of a tough one for Buriram to walk away with the booyah. Onyx Olympus, on the other hand, pretty comfortable in here, looking for an aggressor. Finds absolutely no one. Saming finding Butterfly out in the open. A knock converted into an elimination point as well for Reverse Red.
Attack all around now, looking to go for a push limit to lead the charge. 13 eliminations. It seems like more is going to be on the board. Trap could be number 14 for attack all around. They're constantly playing with 3 members. I don't think you have any more space to go for revive, and even if you do, you would really take a lot of setup for that revive member to be ready for the final phase. So attack all around, playing with a minor handicap, but it looks like they're holding up just well.
WAG just trying to make sure they check all of their windows. Make sure nobody's encroaching their compound just yet. Attack all around, on the other hand, stuck in a very tight spot. Karoro, vending machines there, but what can he do with it? Has got 200 coins. He's broke. He tries to earn more, manages to get yet another knockdown. But the question is, does the circle eliminate him? Answer is yes, as attack all around makes the exit.
I believe he got blocked off by their own glue wall as well, so that there's no escaping death at that point. PE getting shot at by 2 different teams, WAG, Onyx Olympus. We haven't even counted BRU and Reverse Red. Speaking of BRU, they're not even on screen just yet.
Yeah.
Just chilling on the other side. Look at that! They are so far. Compared to the team, just so much control. RQ Kazu also making a good read. Deva United eliminated already.
Classic move by Buriram, using that bridge first and then the hop on to the roof of Onyx Olympus. Now waiting for that opportune moment for Onyx to step on out so that they can get the bird's eye view knocks on them. In the meantime, PE Sports kind of crowding into one house here, waiting for Reverse Red to make a mistake. They're leading with the 7 eliminations in hand so far. They'll have to deal with WAG as well before they can find the next circle, and the circle's moving already.
Yeah, Nero just got shot down by Diamond, but thankfully help arrived in time. PE Sports, they gotta make a move right now. They might see RQ Kazu out in the open. As PE Sports on top of the room means that they actually have decent control. Now they just gotta watch their back. WAG in the meantime engaged in a bloodbath against Reverse Red. It seems like they're holding back Reverse Red just as well. RQ Kazu wants to take advantage of that chaos to make a rotation, but only to be delayed as Abe got knocked down, so Ma'ao needs to bring him back up. BRU, on the other hand, is just free pickings for them.
Yep, free pickings for them. Puna on top of the roof, and he's just playing risk against the circle here at this point of time. The rest of the players from the side of Buriram already found that reposition with the portal go. Now PE Sports still holding on for their dear lives, but get high, a shot from afar, and at this point of time, there's just no saving the player. PE Sports gets taken out. A well-timed shot out of Buriram.
This feels like a boss rush. Look at BRU again. So much read the circle so well. The nades are coming through at BRU. This is just a buffet for them. They can get whatever they want, and everyone else is just fighting for survival and a potential extra placement points. Funa is not going to wait. He's going to go into that compound, dunk on Onyx Olympus, eliminate them. Now it's RQ Kazu left, and of course WAG with the scraps, with the remnants of their members. The bombardment from BRU, completely ridiculous. Wasana instantly goes to like, this guy is mad. Psychopathic behavior right in the flash. Funa also displaying those kind of tendencies, the full aggression of BRU at this point. Unmatched, unparalleled, unstoppable. And it's only a matter of time before the 5th Booyah is claimed. RQ Kazu no more, and WAG Cyrus will also fall. BRU with the 5th out of 6 Booyahs that we have available for today.
They needed 13 points to hit that 150-point mark, but just to outdo themselves, they got 14 just through eliminations and added on the 12 for the 5th booyah of the day. Insane record set by Buriram United Esports on their best day of play throughout the whole of the knockout stages. Insanity to break your own record that you have set in the past.
Imagine the Olympics, and then it's just BRU breaking every single record that was set previously by themselves. And wow, dang you, Reverse Red. This could have been a perfect day for BRU, but it is perfect nonetheless. Finally, BRU celebrates at the end of the day 5 booyahs and a 2nd place in round number 4 on Kalahari, breaking the all-time best, most points in the day, more than 150. What we previously thought was unattainable has now been proven to be possible by one of the best teams, if not the best team in the world.
A total of 163 points in one day of play. When Buriram says they're going for gold, they are going for gold, and my oh my, nobody could stop them. Nobody could do anything about it. We were expecting the 800 points here today for Buriram. They overestimated their own capability. They were looking for 800 as well, but ended up on 850 plus.
Absolutely insane, BRU. What is more to say about these boys? They are just so good, right? The confidence is overflowing, but in a good way. I think this is one of the few teams where if you play in a competitive setting, you don't know who is who. Everyone looks the same.
Yeah.
But just look at how they move. You would instantly recognize that, oh crap, I'm fighting against Buriram United and now I'm in trouble. I think that is the impact, the long-lasting image or even trauma that BRU has left in the minds of everyone that they have crossed paths with. The read that they had today is just insane. Every single game they managed to find, not just find a circle, but be on the safest side of the circle and still decide that they want a piece of the conflict and run straight into the battlefield.
And I can say a great big reason as to why a majority of teams in Group C are not performing is basically because of Buriram. They managed to pull away each and every single point. There were no groups resets. So therefore, the teams in Group C will have to continue dealing with Buriram all the way down till the final day of the knockout stage.
So it's like the high school bully that you can't shake off, right? You tell the principal was like, you just deal with it. Deal with it until graduation. Hopefully, you don't get your skull bashed in before the end of the semester. We will have to extend it to the Thai side to talk to BRU again, this time about their 5th booyah of the day.
Welcome back to interview session, and now Elvis Moshi from Buriram United Esports again. 5 booyah on this day. Congratulations. Oh, if this is best performance for your team.
อันนี้เป็นแบบว่าฟอร์มที่ดีที่สุดของทีมเราแล้วหรือยังคะในวันนี้
ก็เกือบจะดีสุดครับ มันขาดประมาณ 1% มัน 99 แล้วตอนเนี้ยมันขาด 1
Almost the best that we can do because we lack of 1%. Now we have 99%.
Yeah, you told you can get 5 booyah and you can.
เราบอกว่าเราอยากได้5บูย่าแล้วเราก็ได้5บูย่าจริงๆรู้สึกไงบ้าง
How do you feel?
ผมรู้สึกเฟลถ้าผมรู้ว่ามันแข่ง6เกมผมก็จะบอกว่าผมแชมป์6เกมแต่ผมรู้ว่าผมเลยบอกไป5เกม
I feel a bit not quite okay because I thought we have to play for just 5 games. If I know we have to play 6 games, I will say 6.
Yeah, for the future. What if Vietnam food? What if Vietnam food do you want to eat?
อยากกินอาหารเวียดนามอะไรคะ
ก๋วยเตี๋ยวครับเฝงอะไรนะ
เฟอ
เฝอครับเฝอ
noodles เฟอ
มันเป็นมุก
He's just playing joke.
Okay. Any message from another team?
มีอะไรอยากฝากถึงทีมอื่นไหมคะ
ก็เป็นกำลังใจให้กับทีมไทยทุกทีมครับผมเชื่อว่าจะได้ไปทั้งหมด5ทีมไทยแน่นอนครับเวียดนาม
I give all my support to all Thai team because I believe that all of us will go to Vietnam together.
Okay, and any message from your fan?
มีอะไรฝากถึงแฟนๆไหมคะ
ก็ขอบคุณทุกกำลังใจนะครับวันนี้พวกเราก็ทำเต็มที่แล้วก็ขอบคุณมากๆครับแล้วพวกเราก็จะสู้กันต่อไปครับ
Thank you for our fans to supporting us. We do our best today and we will keep doing better and better. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you for interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, back to you, Calcaster.
what do you know? The only reason they missed out one Booyah is because they thought they were only going to play 5 games. How convenient.
Somebody changed the rules for Buriram
Things
today.
that BRU says, you know.
Yeah, somebody whispered the wrong thing in their ear. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, 5 games. Today we're going to do something different, no random map. Yeah, they got surprised by that, right? Obviously, they were trying to be a little bit kind to Reverse Red as well. Obviously, they want Reverse Red to pick up some solid points for themselves. So yeah, maybe one Booyah you take for yourself. We don't want to dominate the day. But Get High this time gets on top of the leaderboard and the MVP title for himself as well. What is this? This is the 4th player from the team to get an MVP title today?
Yeah, the full squad got it. Moshi got 2 and everyone else got 1. The cycle is completed.
My goodness, this is just Buriram at their finest. 6 eliminations, 9 knockdowns. The A124 rocked by the bomber for Buriram. The one and only Get High brings in the J-Beebs, Nairi, as well as the Awakened Andrew. In fact, everybody rocking the Awakened Andrew except for Moshi, who went for a little bit of a different setup here, focusing on that money, making sure they've got that portal go to work with.
Oh yeah, again, same build as always. Not much of a deviation from all the previous rounds. At this rate, BRU, I think they are just trying different ways to play the game and see how much more aggressive that they could go.
Yeah.
They could get. 2.6k damage for Get High. This one, the overperformance from Get High, I suppose. Despite the rest of BRU, Wasana and Funa running headfirst into fights, Get High still, as the support player of all things, is able to deliver the most amount of damage.
The runner-up for the day in terms of overall performance is Reverse Red with a total of 84 points, and Buriram United Esports, on the other hand, with a massive 163 picked up. They are miles beyond any of these other teams here. Perhaps if we had the Indonesians like EVOS Divine and Indostars to kind of mix up a little bit of that momentum, maybe Buriram wouldn't have gotten as many points from the day, but we'll have to see how that sort of a combination works tomorrow.
Oh yeah, and I think, we've seen the version with Jonah, we've seen the version with Funa, which however you mix and match, they still work, right? 11 leaders Get High, getting 6 this game. Kororo and Poon God on the list from Attack All Around, 5 and 4 respectively. Dudes from Marukyou Kazu getting 4, and Do from Stalwart also getting 4. So at least they walk away with some sort of eliminations, but Stalwart still not good enough.
Raja getting revived 4 times out there. Todak were definitely struggling. Only 16 points from 6 games played from the day. Obviously, Todak is having a little bit of issues within their own squad that they need to fix as quickly as possible. But Duts will continue finding those heads. A total of 15 headshots just from this game.
Yeah, 15 headshots. My goodness. And even for Wasana, it's either this is like what, the 4th time we see him on the Hall of Fame with the most glue wall used.
Yeah.
They're just feeding him glue walls. They were like, Wasana, we know you're gonna go in. We know you are going to take 1v2, 1v3 fights. Here are the glue walls. Do with them however you may.
And clearly, we know exactly who's picking up all of those glue wall chips out there from the vending machine as well as the assaults. It is going to be the Bison taking the front stage this time round from all of the weapons. 18 eliminations in total, miles beyond Trogon that only got 10 for itself, but the Woodpecker still shows up in the top 3 weapons used.
It's Bison of all weapons, right? You kind of pointed out the slight nerf to Bison as a weapon, but overall, because of all these close quarter combats and shotguns and charge busters not really being in the forefront, weapons with slightly higher fire rates is still going to be good in Bison, just overtaking Trogon and the Woodpecker. But game standings, BRU again 26 points this game, followed by Attack All Around with 18. And you look at the rest of the list, very unfortunate for teams like Heavy, only getting 2. And that means that WAG, they pull ahead. PE Sports, they also pull ahead.
Todak Homebois down at the bottom. The Malaysian team's still struggling. They'll need to find a little bit of advice from Expand as to how do they manage to dominate in some of these crazy lobbies that the Thais as well as Indonesians seem to overwhelm at times. Vietnam, though, is still catching up slowly but surely. PE, WAG, they are in the top 12 alongside Heavy, but they are all completed with their game except WAG, who still has 6 more to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And WAG just barely scraping by, just tied up with Onyx with 410 points in 12 place, and Heavy just a point ahead of them. But again, this is the end of the road for Heavy, at least for this week. So they just gotta, prepare mentally that they're gonna come back in week number 5 and have to do this entire race all over again. But good improvements. Heavy at least able to step foot in that top 12. But now they realize that, man, their ceiling is so much higher than they first anticipated.
But Heavy was the third best team of the day. Even though we had Buriram just popping off all around the battlefield, Heavy still managed to use all of that chaos, controlled it for themselves to walk away with a total of 70, which is, unreal for the team, right? This is the best performance Heavy has had thus far in the knockout stage, and hopefully that continues. But Funa is gonna probably enjoy the MVP leader title for the time being, but Moshi's hot on his tails, and Wasana now is lagging behind for the side of Buriram.
How many total eliminations do BRU have again? 523.
Yes.
And Funa has more than 25% of it. This guy is a stakeholder in terms of BRU eliminations. Absolutely insane. And most of it came from week 3? Like week 1 and week 2, he was still dormant. Week 3 onwards, this guy was popping heads, and right now he is not only leading in terms of the MVP titles gained, but in terms of total eliminations. So could be single-handedly one of the best players we have.
I do not deny that at all. He was trying out some weird setups in week number 2 that just wasn't working out at all, right? Just rushing into teams, getting annihilated, forcing the team to kind of buckle down early. But things surely have changed. But they'll continue to change tomorrow as we come back with a final day of play within the week. You guys have a good day.
Supplier! How'd you like them apples?